Yep, we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Real Verse World. Today's episode is sick as fuck for me to share, as this guest is one of my long time friends, Andrew Doyle. Andrew and I grew up together in Iowa and have both ended up out in Los Angeles. Doyle co-owns a very successful printing company called Overcast Printing based out of Long Beach. They print gear for companies and artists like Playboy, Levi's, Frank Ocean, Shaun White's Air and Style Festival, King Road Merchandise, YouTube Red, Lock, Stock and Barrel, Manchester Orchestra, fucking everybody, dude. This list goes on. They print worldwide, shipping to every country you can imagine. Doyle is no stranger to the arts either. He is currently in a band called Foreign Pain and has been in a band since early high school. He's toured all over the country. He ran a large music venue. He then ran a nightclub, which almost cost him his fucking life. Stay tuned for that insane story. He became a successful booking agent and even created a nonprofit toy drive that helps provide amazing Christmases to less fortunate families around Southern California. This dude has done it all. Doyle is one of the most caring individuals that I know. He works his fucking ass off every day and said yes to every opportunity that came his way. He has seen rock bottom and has worked his way out time and time again. Like literally, when he became co-owner of this printing shop that he currently owns, they literally had their entire office robbed and stolen. Like everything was gone. It's all gone. They had to start from fucking scratch. You're gonna need to hear that story, so stay tuned because there's a fucking ton of value and lessons in this episode for every Black with No Cream member. Thank you, Doyle, for doing this one for us. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering, what does Black with No Cream stand for? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We are a private group on Facebook open to creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you're a photographer, if you do marketing, management, editing, dancing, etc., 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 all creators are welcome. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our group if you want to by going to BWNC.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. If you're interested in supporting Black with No Cream, go to blackwithnocream.com/merch. We have hats, stickers, shirts, pins, all that shit's available in the store. I appreciate anyone who picks up some merch. Seriously, I fucking appreciate you. If you want to help and you don't have funds, I get it. Just go to iTunes, fucking leave a review on the podcast, share the link with some homies, get some people involved in the group. That's all I need from you. All right, that's it. I have nothing else to talk to you about. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every single Sunday for a new Black with No Cream episode because they're the fucking shit. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Andrew Doyle in the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now!
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that.
I'm gonna move one of these stools.
Be comfortable, yeah, do whatever you want, but let's try to kind of...
There's a lot of stools over here.
Okay, yeah, pull
I'm
them
gonna move this one, like, back this way.
It's kind of funny that you're moving stools. And we're back with another Black with No Cream podcast, episode, I think, 18, which is fucking crazy for me. I am here today with the one and only, a person you guys probably do not know, which is tight. His name is Andrew Doyle, and we've known each other since, I want to say, 8th grade, maybe 9th grade.
That sounds right.
And this dude, as you heard in the intro, has a fucking very successful printing company based out of Long Beach. Was originally based out of Seattle, right? And you guys moved down here not too long ago.
Yep.
He's not only done that, but he's toured fucking everywhere with bands of his own. He's been a booking agent. You've literally done all spectrums of like, from being an artist to like anything involving music. You've done that shit, right? Like, give me a short list.
Started out touring.
Yep.
Went from there to booking talent at a venue. Went from there to selling talent, being a booking agent, and went from doing that to owning a merch company. The only thing I haven't done is management and label. Working on a label right now.
Like artist management?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you want to do that?
No.
And you say you're working on a label?
Yeah. That's super fresh, new. Not a lot to say there yet, but something I've kind of always wanted to do, and now we're gonna go for it.
Dope.
Yeah.
So what I like about Andrew's story is that it's fucking ridiculous. And I've been there to watch it all unfold. Pretty much. I mean, like...
More or less, yeah.
Pretty much. Like, we basically, like, worked together. I mean, we went to high school together and shit like that or whatever, and just ran the whole shit. We were in the music scene. We'd go to shows all the time. All of our bands started touring and getting to experience, like, being on the road and, like, being young and just trying to, like, figure it out with music. And you've gone on... We end up going to work in, like a nightclub that was like a venue, sort of. We had like a venue and a nightclub, and Doyle like ended up pseudo managing both spaces. The story is so good. I don't want to get into it yet, but I kind of want to go into like production or owning your company right now.
Okay.
So give us a rundown of like what this company is, because I think this is cool. You're the first person that's not technically to people on the outside looking in. If I just say you own a printing company, like they're not going to think that's not creative, but I think it's like one of the most creative things possible. You guys print and make, like he makes the black with no cream. The shit I'm wearing, if you're watching the video right now, this shit, Doyle made it. The hat, Doyle made it. Okay? Doyle made it should be the name of the company, just like my old company, Ben made it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. We print, I would say like 98% of what we do is tour supply for artists. We, all over the world too. A lot of domestic, obviously, but, we go through Canada, Japan, Australia. We actually had an Overcast Australia for, like, a small, like, portion of time.
What do you mean, like a facility?
No, it was, like, basically because of how expensive it is to do printing in Australia, we had a guy there who would basically just collect orders. We'd print them. We'd produce all the merch here in LA, and then we would ship it down in, like, pallets.
Damn.
And because it was cheaper to do that for like bands and businesses down there than it was to get the merch produced in Australia. And so we did that for a while, but the customs game was like such a pain when you're, you know what I mean? You're shipping like pallets of merch down. There's so many like logistical problems that come up that it's kind of like, But we still ship to Australia all the time. Right. And that's still a pretty big market for us. But yeah, 98% of what we do is for, touring bands, artists. Right now we're printing for, actually currently there's like a big festival in LA. It's called Aaron Style Festival. It's like a snowboarding
When
music
is that?
fest. It is in a couple weeks. It's in beginning of March. I should know this.
But this is like, didn't Shaun White snowboard at this shit?
It's actually Shaun White's fest.
It's his personal festival.
He owns it.
Dope.
So it's really cool. It's like a music festival, and they have a big snowboarding event too. Previous years they've done like a big air, jump or whatever. I think they're structuring it a little bit different this year, but the artists are really cool too.
What do you mean like that? So it's like not only can you watch snowboarding and shit.
Yeah, so it's like they'll do like snowboarding event, and then you walk over in between, like they stagger it, and then they'll have like an artist play. And like I think this year it's like Gucci Mane and like
tight.
Fanagram's playing.
Ooh, shit.
Phoenix.
I used to want to fucking rap on every Fanagram song ever.
I'm pretty sure. I think the girl from Fanagram, I think she's dating Shaun White.
Oh, really?
Don't quote me on that.
Maybe.
But
exclusive.
Damn.
Only through the merch company.
Shit. But he's like in the Olympics right now.
For sure. That's
just crazy.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
A couple of dudes that. Do you remember when school had gotten like a little brand to fuck with us, and it was Yeah Nice.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah Nice the dude JJ Thomas was like he would like coach Shaun, and like they've worked with Shaun. So in my Instagram I follow JJ, and I follow this dude named Louis Vito, who's like a pro snowboarder too, and like I always see Shaun in all their shit, like they're always working together to perfect his shit and whatever. That dude's super huge. That's a dope festival to be a part of.
It's crazy. Well, the way we got into it was really weird too. Like we print for this brand, Kill Brand, and this dude Johnny like recommended us to Shaun for his band because Shaun plays in this band.
I was gonna make a joke like, so you watch snowboarding, you go see 3 songs of Shaun, you go watch snowboarding, you watch 3 more songs.
He played. I think they played the first year maybe or second year.
He straps it, does a trick, gets out, goes over,
runs
grabs
to the
his guitar.
stage, like he's straight up playing.
I've never listened to them.
They're cool.
They are cool.
But he plays guitar in it.
That's what I was saying.
And Johnny was like, "Yo, you should like." They needed merch. He's like, "Yo, you should have these dudes." And this was when we were like super small. This was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, because I remember you going to it a while back, right? Didn't you go to the event or you posted something about?
Yeah, we go every year.
Yeah. Okay.
But this was before we started printing for the fest, and like we did like a bunch of shirts and like random shit for his band, and he must have fucked with it because
that's really dope.
We started doing it for the fest, and yeah, it's been cool. It's awesome. It's a good time.
Yeah,
sure.
that's cool.
We'll all be like behind the booth, like slinging merch this year too.
I want to come to that.
It's cool. You should come out.
Is it public? Is it like for the public?
Yeah.
So it's all.
Yeah, they sell. I mean, they sell
like
tickets.
tickets
and shit.
for it?
Yeah,
Sick.
it's just a music fest.
All right, go to that, people. If you guys
Yeah,
want to
check
see
it out.
and meet Doyle, you have a chance.
Yeah,
And
I'll be
if
at the booth.
If you have
Chilling.
questions on your merch needs,
Slinging cloth, dude. Yeah.
dude, for real though, you've really crushed that shit. And the way, I don't know, just the way you guys. I think people need to understand what it's like to. I want them to understand what it's like to run a printing shop, because I got to come see it for the first time, even though I fucking have been. This is what's fucked up, to be honest. Is Doyle? So Doyle left me in Iowa and went to Seattle.
Shit.
Started making. Didn't you go there to work with Bailey on?
We'll get there.
Okay, yeah.
We'll
let's not go. I
we'll
want to
get
start at
there.
the beginning, but like,
Yeah.
From now he is in LA, or he's in Long Beach, and I'm out here. And when I moved out here, it was just me trying to hustle every day. So I like to go to Long Beach is like to go to fucking back to Iowa. Like that shit seems so far. I'm like, I don't have a car, bro.
That's LA though. Like if you live in LA, it's like, oh, they live in Orange County. No, fuck that. I'm not going to Orange County. That's crazy.
It's
or
so
like,
far.
I never thought we grew up like we'd have to drive like 6 hours to go to a show. Like we'd go to like St. Louis or Chicago or Minneapolis, you know what I mean? Like, and that was like no big thing. No. And now it's like this crazy fucking lineup, and it's 45 minutes away. Nah, fuck that. That's
I know, because it's not that it's like 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes to like stand still, stop and go, and you just like want to die because it's just that it's so miserable. If you have to drive 6 hours, it's just like auto, put that shit in auto, and you're like.
Oh, it's just different. Because like now, like there's so many shows all the time, and like it's just a different vibe.
But what I was getting at was that I finally got to go see your shop not too long ago when I picked up this merch, and it was I've seen pictures of it and shit, but to be in there, it's a fucking. It's so ridiculous. Like
it's
there's
chaos.
Boxes of shit everywhere. He's got these massive printing things that are like you could put I don't know multiple pieces of shirt or merch on. Yeah. I don't know. It's supposed to speed up the process, right?
You load you load shirts on and it like goes around and prints as it goes, auto press. And yeah, it cranks it out, man.
But that thing is expensive, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, when we made the move to
like $2,000,
go automate it, yeah, I wish. It's like it was like a 6-figure investment. By the time we like got all the equipment needed, wired up the power, like it's no joke, man. Like, but I mean, it cranks it out. Like that thing can print. I mean, we have like amazing printers. Like they're literally the best. Shout out those boys,
to the team. Yeah.
The team. But like they can crank like sometimes 50 dozen an hour off that thing.
50 dozen.
50 dozen. So I mean, like,
which is, when you first started, what was the process like back then?
Slow. Wait, are you talking about like when we were a manual shop?
Yeah, like
dude, that's like by hand. Like, I'd say let's get there. We'll get there. That's just crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're printing by hand, like you're maybe doing if you can do like 100 shirts an hour, like you're sitting pretty good. You know?
Right.
But when you go from that to printing, 700, 800 shirts an hour, like it's just a different.
Especially when you get that high demand and you need to do quick turnarounds. You need to have big orders. You need to make sure it's done right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like definitely a consistency thing too. It's cool to know that every piece of merch is going to come out exactly the same.
Right.
Like when you're printing by hand instead of machine, there's a little variable there, but no, it's cool.
That's really crazy.
It was a good shift for us.
What I was getting at was that your work ethic is through the roof. This dude will literally get up and crank this shit out all day, make sure his business is floating. He co-owns his business with his homie Bailey.
Yeah.
Who is it's tight because Bailey, we met through music. Bailey was in a band called Gravemaker.
1,000 bands. But yeah, that's when we met.
Yeah, but he was in this cool ass hardcore band called Gravemaker, and then they come through. They like crash at our house. They stayed at 94, apartment 94.
That was yeah.
They stayed there. They've stayed everywhere. I don't know, but they would come through and we'd like just fucking worship this band, right? And
they killed that in Iowa. It was like such a good market.
They made so much money off their merch. Like everyone would go nuts for this band. And so you guys developed your relationship there, which we can come back to, of how this all came to be. But it was cool because Bailey was also like booking their band's tours and then booking other bands' tours. And so we would always see that and we would get tips on how to book our tours and like, what I mean? It was just a good relationship.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, you guys co-own this company together and it's flourished. You guys have been currently working together for how long?
Well, I guess.
When did you become part owner?
5 years ago.
So it was originally Bailey and his
old partner. Who I bought out 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah. And we'll get there too.
Yeah.
I hate to keep saying that, but like it's.
No, I know.
It's so sequential, like the whole thing.
For sure. So I just think there's so much value I was just trying to set it up for these motherfuckers to listen to this shit because podcasts, I get it. People have shit to do, and I think this is a good story that you're gonna enjoy listening to. And before we start the story, I just need to fucking clarify how hardworking this dude is. He gets up. He's married, by the way, so he not only is by himself cranking shit out and thinking about business, but he also has a relationship to balance or whatever. And he's getting up, working his ass off at the shop. He fucking got into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Obsessed with jiu-jitsu.
Love it.
Literally, he's like packs out his days and still has time for like to make time for friends and shit, which is dope as fuck. We'll get there. We'll fucking get there. But anyway, let's go back because first let's go back to fucking high school.
Okay.
Me and Doyle would go to shows religiously. Like our life is, I was straight edge back then. Doyle's still straight edge.
Yeah.
So because some people don't, which blows my mind, people don't know what that fucking shit is.
I get it. Well, I mean, and like the references of it in pop culture are like. So, like, I think it was in, like, Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist or some shit. And they were
it was.
They were like, oh, are you one of them edgers? Or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, instantly, I was just like, oh,
yeah, I know.
like,
They just, like, kind of fuck up the whole thing.
Or, like, CM Punk. It's like, shit, dude, you just, like, set us back, like, forever.
But we were, I mean, like, I remember becoming straight edge I think I had come to Holmes Junior High to go to high school or
from St. Pat's.
Yeah, from St. Pat's. So I went from Catholic school to 8th grade to like opening my life to public school, which was like the first time I saw a goth person and all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? But I became straight edge then. Just seeing it, like we would start going to shows and you'd see all these dudes and they're just like they'd have like it'd be hardcore bands and there'd be people moshing and beating the shit out of each other for fun and like but they weren't like serious about it. Like
they were cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
They're
about
cool
it.
after.
But I'd look up to them and be like, damn, when I get my fucking braces off someday, I'm gonna get in there and
come
do
in
that
with a mouth guard, like
yeah, I'm gonna get in there and do that
this.
shit. And then but then at some point I just realized what the culture was of it and it made sense to like I'd see friends that we'd be with in grades or junior high and high school and they start drinking and getting fucked up and like terrible stories would come out about them or they would turn into dickheads. Like that's just what happened. I would see it happen to a lot of my close friends. And I was like, I don't want to fucking do that shit. And seeing straight edge made sense to me in the sense that it's like, yo, you're not going to drink, you're not going to smoke or do drugs. You're just going to live like this clean lifestyle and like respect women and try to be like a good person overall. Like that's what it made sense to me. And so I did that shit till, I don't know, when I sold out. I think I honestly was like 21. I didn't drink till after I was 21. And
didn't you have a bet with somebody?
To drink?
No, like they didn't think you'd like make it till 21 and then you made it till 21. I feel like I heard something.
I hope
that.
so.
You obviously didn't collect it, but I was pretty sure there was a thing about that.
I just remember like at age 21, I remember a couple of our friends who were straight edge, who were best friends since like day one. I remember seeing this happen at a show and like one guy sold out. So if you're straight edge, that means that you're committing yourself for your life, right? Like you're saying, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to do all this shit, I'm going to stay this person forever. Yeah. And most people don't make it. Like it's just what it is. And so at this point, I remember seeing like two good friends. One of them chooses to like drink, and the other one was so pissed that they were like spray painting and doing all this shit. And it was like really aggressive. At the time, it made sense because it was like a camaraderie thing. It was also like you're committing yourself to this shit, and it was like fuck you for this. And I'm like, yo, man, I'm seeing like our friends not become friends with each other because of this choice, and it's just starting to get like blurry to me, and like it doesn't make sense that two people could like not become like stay buds or whatever. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? It was just a bummer to see. And eventually I just didn't. Then you hear about people getting like fucking people up over some certain. It
was like a bad time.
It was a really bad time.
There was like a lot of like crazy shit happening like in the world.
Yeah.
Of like hardcore and like what was going on.
Right.
It was goofy.
But I was still in the scene. So
yeah.
It's
like at the end of the day, like you got to make your own personal choices. And,
yeah.
You know.
And I love alcohol, so I just started going ham.
I actually really like that era of Ben Haggerty.
That era when I would just be like turning up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun.
But like I wasn't like, it didn't. I sold out, but I don't think I didn't drink really anything for like that whole first year. And I was just because I was like, I don't know, I just don't really need to do this shit. And that I think honestly is one of the things that saved my ass because I was able to contribute all of my time and energy into music, everything that we did with music, all this stuff. What made too much sense. I don't know how this became about me. I'm sorry.
Shit,
my fucking bad.
We're chilling, dude.
I'm just trying to explain it to them because it's like a thing. It's like I haven't talked about this shit before.
It's a good place to start because that's like really when I like look back about like how, and I try to do this like every once in a while, like look back like how did you get here? You know what I mean? And so it's like for me, like it started when I was like 16. I think 16 or 17, I booked the very first show I'd ever done. It was this band Regret from Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'd found him on Pure Volume. We were in high school, and I was using like the Media Lab or some shit, and I was on Pure Volume, and they had 2 songs on there. I was like, this band is sick. I want to book him here. Booked him at this house venue called The Switch. It was dope. Tons of kids showed up. It
That was your
sick.
first show that you booked?
Yeah.
But we've been going to shows way
Oh,
before
yeah.
that.
But I'm saying like what I promoted.
Yeah.
And then I was like obsessed. I'm like, dude, I love booking shows. It's the sickest shit ever. And so I was just like booking as many shows as I could, and making some money on some. Not really, but like mostly if the show made money, I just gave it all the touring bands or whatever. And then definitely like taking some hits on some shows too. But I loved it. Became obsessed with it. I was already playing in bands at this time, and then when my last semester of high school was pretty rough. I moved in with some friends, kind of had a weird falling out with my folks, and we're good now. But moved in with some friends, and that whole last semester, like all this crazy shit happened. And like I was working at this burrito spot, and the dude that owned it like died.
Yeah, he died
in a car crash, which was super tragic. But that whole semester, I remember thinking like, I'm working for the summer. Like I just need to get through this shit, and then this summer I start touring, and like I can't wait, And that's really what it was. It was just like a race to the finish, and I was booking shows still, and then we went on tour. And I felt like we didn't stop for like years, like 3 years, 4 years. We just went on the road as much as we could. When we were home, we'd all work like shit ass jobs just to like make enough money to like go on tour again and be able to still have a home when we came home. You know what I mean?
And also to be able to like afford being on tour.
Yeah. I mean, like, which there was some times where it was like, it was generally like we do pretty good about saving money because cost of living in Iowa is like next to nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
But like we made the mistake a couple times. Like we always would start in Minneapolis because it was like a really good market for us. But the dude that did the show really liked taking us to the casino afterwards, which is like when it's your first day of tour, do not go to the fucking casino.
Yeah, we'd pull up.
And then like you spend all your money, and then you're like, well, shit, I'm on tour for the next 3.5 weeks, and I have $15. So we would be like sleeping in Walmart parking lots, eating like cold baked beans and tortilla chips, or like.
And mind you that we weren't 21. This casino was an 18 plus.
Yeah,
you could be 18. That's why it was the shit.
It was awesome
because
we couldn't gamble in Iowa.
Yeah,
so we'd go up there and just ball out.
Hell yeah.
And
Mystic Lake Casino.
Is that the name of it?
Hell yeah.
Sam Banks was the dude.
Damn.
He was the promoter. He was awesome, and then he always took us gambling afterwards. The shit was awesome. But we'd eat like French bread. Like we'd buy a loaf of French bread for $1, and then we'd eat on that for like 2 days.
Ramen.
And when you got bored of that, you would put hot sauce on it, and then it would like, I don't know, spice it up.
But what was the goal?
Different.
Like, why are you doing this?
There wasn't like, that's the thing about like touring at that time. Like there wasn't a goal. Like we just loved to be on tour. Like we just going out, meeting people. Like we weren't this like ambitious, like trying to break through. We played punk music. Like there's like big punk bands, I guess, but like that wasn't ever the plan. We just wanted to get out and like play to kids. And some shows were fucking awesome, and some were like duds. And like when we were first touring, like we played this show to like 2 kids, you know what I mean? And it was like such a drag. The venue was like leaking water. Like every time Sean touched his guitar, like he was getting electrocuted because we were playing in standing water and the power wasn't grounded.
Oh my God.
And it was fucked up. And that was like kind of the beginning of the band. And then like when we were on our last tour, this was like 10 years ago. We played that same venue. It had been updated. It wasn't still leaking water, but there was like hundreds of kids. It was dope. People were like swinging from rafters. It was crazy.
He had a band called Take Control, which was like, okay, 2 notes because you just told it great. Everything that I listened to, it's like flashbacks for me because I'm thinking, let's go back.
You were there for a lot of it.
I was there
so
for fucking goddamn everything.
Yeah.
Like, go back to him talking about moving out. Was that when you moved to which house?
The house on 20th. It was like Franklin and 20th.
With Adam?
Adam had just moved out.
Okay, word.
I was living there.
House.
Or no, he did. No, he did live there.
Yeah. So Doyle lives there.
On the couch.
He worked at a the best burrito spot in our town. I hate saying that because I feel like it's changed and I don't fuck with it. I'm gonna say that publicly right now.
Shit,
I say it all the time. But this is the thing. It's called Pablo's. Pablo's is the shit, and I do fuck with Pablo's. I got one of the goddamn best quesadillas you'll ever get. If you go to Cedar Falls, Iowa, please go there.
Go to Pablo's.
Go to fucking Pablo's. They got bomb salsa.
The salsa's ridiculous.
Salsa's crazy. But at the time, in high school, Doyle's running this whole shit, basically. Like, he's at Pablo's working there, and we would come, and at weekends, it was the bar night, and this shit was crazy.
It was crazy, dude.
It was on our main street. Every kid that was fucking out getting fucked up would come here at 2 o'clock, like clockwork, and it would be a line out the door, and people are sitting there fucked up, and basically the rules were like anything goes after 2, because it's like,
dude, just fights every night. Like I remember this one dude, he was like tripping, and like someone cut him in line, or no, he came in and he was like small, and he cut the like biggest dude in the line. He's like, I'm standing here. And the guy's like, all right, whatever. And then the guy started like, the little guy like started getting lippy with him. He's like, what'd you say? And like trying to fight him. And ends up like, I like look up, and this dude just is this guy, like this little guy, like pinned to the wall. He's about to beat the shit out of him. And his friends like get the big guy out. It was like, yo, chill out. But then the little guy's like trying to like throw like chairs, and like, I'm like, have to jump over the counter, and I'm like, yo, you need to like chill the fuck out, right? And he like picks up a chair, like he's gonna throw it at me. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that. That's a mistake, dude. Like, you need to get the fuck outside. And then a bunch of people like took him out back and like beat the shit out of him. It was fucking crazy, dude.
But it's not just Doyle. It's like all of our friends worked at this spot.
Oh yeah,
it was like
I hired, because like when I worked there, it was like a bunch of like, hopefully no one listens to this that worked there, but like a bunch of like burnouts, and like a bunch of like hippie dudes that like really like playing disc golf, and like, listening to like
straight up
Sublime and shit, which is like nothing wrong with Sublime.
Right.
It's fine, whatever.
No, my homies tours with them.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's like the crowd, the Grateful
100%.
Dead, Sublime.
Yeah,
like, they love disc golf, and like that's
smoking weed,
and like
burritos.
wearing hemp and shit, and that's cool. And I fucked with it. But then when I got there, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get all my friends to work here, because I started working there because that was where you went after shows. You went to Pablo's.
We always went to fucking Pablo's.
It was a spot.
Hell yeah.
So I worked there, and that place was so good to me. Like
I literally remember playing a show. We used to play at this venue called the Phoenix. That was right down. There was a Reverb in the Phoenix, and I remember playing at the Phoenix. And our friend Blaine hopped up on my car when we were just getting done loading our van up, and we just played a show. And he's like, "Dude, what's up?" And he was like this young kid that would come and just like try to get involved in shows. And we're like, "Dude, we heard you're pregnant. You're like got your girlfriend pregnant." And he's like, "Yeah, it was literally either I bought a condom or I bought a Pablo's burrito, and I had to get a Pablo's burrito." And that was what he told me back then. I was like, it's just a statement. That should literally be on their website.
Go to Pablo's. Straight up.
Yeah, but
Knuckle Sandwich wrote a song about it.
Knuckle Sandwich did write a song about it. Everybody goes to Pablo's. Dude, okay, I also want to express that what you were talking about earlier with saying like how you would, so if Doyle booked a show, Our idea at the time wasn't really like it was for profit.
Not at all.
It was all about camaraderie, building relationships with these artists that were out of town. Not with the idea that these guys will help me later. It was just like we really fucking loved the music that we listened to and the culture that we were in. That your job as in that music world was if you book a show, the goal is to get that band as much money who is on tour that you could possibly give them.
I remember this band. They were like some like random metal band. They're called The Network. They're from
Network.
They were like from Maine,
Yeah.
or like somewhere in like northeast area, and they came through, and they were like, they were like $100 band. You know what I mean? Like, just get us what you can. And like most of the bands at that time were, but like we like loaded up with like solid locals, and like so many kids came out, like hundreds of kids, and they were like blown away. They're like, what the hell? And then at the end of the show, I gave them like over $1,000.
They're probably
their mind was like blown. They had probably never I don't know if they ever got paid that ever again, but like straight up, I was just like, I don't keep money. The most we would keep is sometimes we do like a root beer keg too, the show,
Crushed.
Yeah. And then we would charge for cups and like whatever. We'd like make a couple bucks, but like just basically enough to pay for the root beer. And that was
that was it. And just have a good time. And that was like part of it, man. Like the way we organize our area code became so famous, like that people would want to, that when they toured, they knew they'd come to Cedar Falls. If they got in with the right people, the shows would be insane. They'd have such a great turnout. Because, like, you might not ever know that band from fucking Maine named The Network, and then you put enough people together and say, hey, these bands are killing it in high school, and they want to play, and they have 30 friends. This band has 40 friends. They're all going to come out and support the show. Everyone wants to hang out together. And then all of a sudden, The Network has 300 kids watching them, and they're going nuts to their music, but they might not have ever heard that shit, and then become loyal fans.
But see, like, that was the cool thing about the Iowa music scene at the time, and I think that is still relevant today. Like, music scenes thrive on local talent. Like, and I think building those relationships with your like local community cannot be undervalued enough. And I experienced this a ton as a booking agent, a ton, because I booked some like developing artists that there wouldn't be people at the show unless the local talent was strong. And like I feel like at least I personally like never really took that for granted because like I grew up in that scene.
Yeah.
I grew up in that scene where, you know, those kids aren't that, you know, maybe they aren't that well connected. And like, obviously everything comes sort of filters to the Midwest a little later than everywhere else. But like those kids were so diehard because like that was the place to go. You know what I mean? Like they would go to support the locals and then they'd catch this touring band. And even if they didn't know a single song, they would just be like going nuts the whole time because like that was sort of the community that we had fostered. And I still think that's relevant today. And I think that element is missing in a lot of scenes. You know, everyone's just like, oh, I got to be on tour all the time. I got to do this. Like, no, like develop yourself in like your local area and like build out from there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, we can kind of get more into this a little bit later, but like you don't have to tour, you know, like 24, you know, 365 a year to like be an artist that's like really developed themselves. And I think like, look at, like you had Oliver on the podcast, like he's a really good example of that. Like he is absolutely killing it. And like, he's just been really, and I know he's not, he's like one of those unique cases where he doesn't like, it doesn't feel like he's like trying to get like massive, you know, it just happens because
he
like
literally doesn't
when
want
when you put like passion first, like the rest will follow. You know what I mean? Like if you're chasing money all the time, like you're going to have a lot harder time coming up on it. But like when you like put yourself 100% into what you love, and it's like the same, I feel the same thing with the shop. Like, and you know, business is a little bit different than like doing music, but like a lot of the elements are the same. Like the way you focus things and drive things, like as long as you're passionate about what you do, like the rest will kind of fall into place. And I feel like that applies to a lot of things, you know?
Dave, the intern, please take that and make that an Instagram clip. God damn, I love that shit. That's fucking hard. I agree.
Like, you know, legit. And I feel like anyone that I've talked to that I feel like has even experienced like a dollop of success in that sense, they've always been that way. You know, like I don't like, and I don't really like fuck with a lot of people that chase money because like it's not a personality type that I just find myself socializing with. But I think you could probably agree, like most of the people that you know that like have developed a successful like career, like they're very passionate about what they do, and they put that and their art ahead of everything else.
First,
you know,
always.
I mean, you're the same way.
Yeah,
you know,
right? It's fucking too true. I love the idea of just really how you were able to set a precedent for like everyone in our town to like see what you guys were like one of the first bands to truly go and tour and do it right. Like
maybe like our age group.
Our age group.
Yeah,
there was
like,
definitely like fucking
like Modern Life is War and like bands like that.
Yeah, but Modern Life is War was famous to us by that time. Yeah. So there's a band called Modern Life is War. If you don't know them, look them up. They're fucking incredible.
Awesome band.
Incredible band that drew such a fan base around the world. And when they decided to break up, they chose that they would do one final show. They did a final tour. They toured everywhere around the world, and they said there was going to be one final show, and it was in Marshalltown, Iowa, which is about like 45 minutes from us.
It's the middle of, I mean, Iowa as a whole, if you consider that the middle of nowhere, like Marshalltown is like the center of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's absolutely nothing is there, except for the first original Taco John's. Check it out.
Taco John's, yeah.
But that was what they did, and people flew from all over the fucking world for this show.
Absolutely.
And I think, how many people do you think were there? It was like
a lot.
It was like
enough that like when they started playing, like there was tons of bands. It was an awesome show. Mm-hmm. They started playing like first 15 seconds, 20 seconds. So many people like rushed the stage that the stage they had built collapsed.
They built it for the show.
And it straight up collapsed under the weight.
Insane.
There was literally like hundreds of kids trying to get on this stage.
I remember being so sick. I don't know what I was sick with, but I was so fucking sick that I had to sleep. I like slept by the wall during most of the opening show. And
I wasn't feeling very good either.
It was terrible.
But we had like driven to a bunch of the shows, and then I booked one of the shows too.
Yeah, because we played our band, Old Men Dead Dogs played with them in Waterloo.
At the Ambets.
Yep. Yeah. And so I remember standing on the side of the stage, and they were setting up, and I knew they were about to start the song, so I like made my spot, and my goal was just as soon as this fucking set starts, I'm gonna stage dive. And I had my foot was like up on the side of the stage, and I'm waiting, and they're just like, "We're Modern Life is War from Marshalltown, Iowa," and they hit the shit, and I like got up and ran, and as soon as I jumped, I could feel the stage I think the front of it just dropped.
It did.
And as I'm like in the crowd, everyone just goes whoosh, and it was like the weirdest feeling in my life.
It's like slow motion, everyone's sort of like collapsing forward.
And then they stopped the music, and someone's like, "Get it up, this girl's trapped underneath." It was like really crazy because I think a girl got pinned underneath the stage.
I don't think anyone was hurt.
No one got hurt, but we were definitely like
probably. I mean, like we're talking about that many people, but
it was so nuts.
So they broke down the stage, they got it all out of there. They started playing on the floor, and I remember like me and my buddy where Jeff, we were holding up like one of the speaker stacks because like then it became a DIY show again. And
Super
everyone
DIY.
is like, okay, do your part. You know, there was like a couple like pretty big dudes.
Massive dudes that were
holding everybody, hundreds of kids back so that the band doesn't just get literally
God
crushed.
damn it.
It was a good show.
There's a lot of good pictures too. Maybe I can like put it on top of this.
Tony
Tony
that was on this podcast
took those photos.
Took the dopest photo of like Jeff the singer like up front and just hundreds of kids just like losing their mind. That's a great photo.
Listen to Anthony's fucking podcast. It was like a couple episodes
Anthony.
ago. Yeah, Tony, Anthony, whatever you want to call him. But he did post the illest photos from that shit, and you'll see like all these massive dudes that are like literally they chain their arms together. They chain their arms together and just push back to keep everyone that was pushing forward away from the band so that the band could fucking get through a song. It was insane. This is Iowa, dog. This is like...
See, this is the shit, though. And this is another thing that I'm going to talk about when we get into the booking tours. Do not undervalue those small markets. Don't do it.
Ever.
Because, like, some of the dopest shows that I booked in, like, I booked tours for, like, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
For a long time.
Long time. We'll get to that, too. But some of the dopest shows were in, like, BNC markets.
Yeah.
Like, not New York City. It was, fucking somewhere in...
Arkansas and shit.
Like
the craziest
because
shows.
those like smaller town kids really appreciate what they have. I think that's really cool. But we come from that.
So there was bands like Modern Life is War, which like honestly by the time we were figuring out what music really was and we understood what
they were on their way.
They were like so big. Like we would drive to see them in Minneapolis, and it was like going to see fucking Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was like. You just see them and like, damn, these guys made it out of Iowa and they play in Minneapolis now. We drove 3 hours to get here, and that was cool. And then, but for our age group, like Doyle and his homies start Take Control, and that band was just whatever. I don't know. For some reason, we all just like became obsessed with the music. It was cool. It didn't. We were all young and
it was chill.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
But they would play shows and everyone would go nuts. I think I even remember like playing. You guys played a show at the Boathouse, which was like a famous spot for our shows in Iowa. And I remember bringing like a what is that shit like when you go to the beach and you like run out and they have like the little paddle boards, but you like run and jump on it.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, skimboards?
Yeah, but it was like foam. It was a
bodyboard.
A bodyboard. Yeah, I brought that shit and I would like when the crowd would be on top of you when you were singing the song. I would like
bodyboard up.
I bodyboard on the motherfucker. That shit was. We had so many.
Savage.
They were so dope though, and they set this. They started touring, and when they started touring, we're like, holy shit! Like we can do this shit. And you guys started touring. You guys would go around and play the United States. You bought a van. You guys got the first van, and then when our band started getting ready to tour, we borrowed your van, which was the worst tour ever, but the best tour of our lives.
Was that the tour that I was on?
Yeah, because then we had Doyle come with, and I don't know what you did on the tour. Did you do anything?
Sold merch, maybe?
Maybe sold merch, and Sean sold merch. I don't know.
We just hung out, basically.
Yeah, we just hung out. It was their van. We got to use it. We made no money. We lost all of our money. We got like all the way out to Connecticut, and then had to fucking come home after playing with Title Fight. That was cool.
Title Fight and Tiger's Jaw played that show.
Tiger's Jaw too. Yeah, Title Fight and Tiger's Jaw.
To like 100 kids.
Yeah, before they were
big.
If you know the band's references, like
if not, check them out.
Yeah,
They're
definitely
good
check
bands.
them out. But we played
I
with
just
them.
saw Tiger's Jaw.
We literally had no money and we had to call it. We're like, yo, because the van broke down, some shit exploded. We had like this weird experience walking on the highway, and like there's so many good moments from that tour. But it was like trying to be like Doyle, not doing it very well.
We didn't do it very well either. I mean, we thought so. I know, but like, and I feel like any touring artist has always got that like one tour that like they totally eat shit on. We definitely had that tour, and it also ended the Northeast.
For sure.
Northeast was brutal.
It was really brutal.
Those kids are like LA kids.
Yeah.
They don't drive. They do not drive for shows.
They fucking suck. And I remember we played. Where did we play?
You hear this? You guys don't.
Fuck
no,
you guys.
suck.
We played. We played in Buffalo, and that was crazy. And then we went and played.
We dropped Christian in that pool.
Oh yeah, damn! I wish you guys knew all these people.
Yeah,
because we have.
Let's glaze through because I feel like
it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're driving.
We grabbed Christian and our guitar player, and he's got anxiety and shit. And we're in front of a bunch of people, and they had this pool in the backyard. We just we all grabbed him at the same time. We brought him over and pushed him into the
dropped him.
It was really stupid. But then we went and played in the other place in New York. It was like 2 hours from
the other place.
Yeah, what was the other? What's the state or the city? Damn, we played like one show in New York, and that was when we like the guy didn't he took the money like from the show. He like didn't pay us. He like dipped early and like took all the show money. We're like, fuck. We had no money. We're like, damn, we better go. We want to see New York City. We've never seen New York City. So we all go to New York City.
We stayed with Mario.
We stayed with our homie Mario, which is a whole nother
Shout
shit.
out, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to get into that.
No, me either.
Like, straight up.
You can't talk about his life publicly.
No, you can't. That's fucked up.
We go to New York, see that shit. We're like, let's play the show in Connecticut, and then we have to go home. And we literally like had enough money to get gas. I remember like we wouldn't have been able to afford the gas in Illinois, driving through Illinois, and we like made it across the border
to
into
Dubuque
Iowa, ran out
shit.
of gas, and like coasted into the thing, and we were able to get cheaper
on
gas.
Change, dude.
Literally
on
change.
emptying like our pockets, being like everyone, like me and Sean included. I feel like everyone was just like, all the money you have, just put it in the gas tank. We can get home, and then we'll figure it out from there.
It was the best experience, and this is like contributes to like who we are as people, I think, because when you talk about Doyle booking shows and literally like could say like, oh cool, I could make like $100 tonight, or I could make $200 tonight, and he wouldn't. He would majority of the times until you understood that like it's fair, was like giving everything we could to these types of bands because these are the experiences we had trying to just play music for people and build friendships. You know what
I really don't like as far as like DIY booking. Like before I started booking, I really don't know if I ever took money from a show. I mean, maybe that network show, like I paid all the local. I still had money left. There were so many kids at that show. It was crazy. But like, insane. I can't think of any other. Yeah. I mean, any other shows I really took money from until I started booking like professionally. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. But anyway, so then whatever. As this is like this is a staple for like what our youth was like, you know. And as we continue to grow, your band, you guys end up breaking up, and stop. How many tours do you think you guys did? You toured quite a bit.
A lot. I don't know.
Several tours.
A decent amount.
Yeah, they got around. Everyone knew who they were. They put this place on the map. But we started working. Am I fast forwarding too much if I go into Wheelhouse?
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Touring in this band is how I met my current business partner, Bailey. Mm-hmm. Like we met like playing shows. He was already booking tours for his band and other bands, and he was great at. I mean, he was an excellent booking agent.
Yeah.
And we like ended up playing some shows together. I remember the first time we like met up, it was like Thanksgiving at some like Chinese buffet in Oklahoma.
You gotta go.
But we were like instant homies for life. And that set the stage for how I got to where I am now, which is why like it really is so sequential. Like when I look back, like I don't regret a single thing that happened because like it all led to where I am now, and I'm happy with my life. So it's like I feel like in a lot of sense, like I don't know, when you look back and think about things, like if you are happy with where you're at, you can't be bummed about anything that happened, you know. But I guess I can go from there.
Yeah, go from there.
So met Bailey, booking shows for him, and then started working for this venue as a talent buyer. I really like bullshitted my way into that job. I mean, it's like any job, you sort of fake it till you make it, and that was like no exception. Like I came in for my interview and I was like, oh, I've been booking all these shows, blah, 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 which was true, but like not on like 1,000 cap venue level,
right?
You know, but I knew the concepts. Like I had a lot of friends in that industry, and so I just had them send me like their offer sheets and shit like that, so I could get really like I was really learning as I went.
And this is you pitching to what, Wheelhouse?
To Bermuda, the company.
Yeah, Bermuda.
Before Wheelhouse opened, and so I came on to Wheelhouse as a talent buyer, and so we're buying shows and like
fucking lying,
straight up.
So
I mean, it was
but
cool.
You've done
like I had done it, but I just hadn't done it on that scale. But like you have to like, I don't know, like that's the only way to get into that is like build up and then you know. And I do feel like I brought a sense of experience that no one at that company had because they ran nightclubs and restaurants.
Yeah.
They had no idea how to book like bands and shit like that.
And handle shows.
And the actual production of a show, they had no clue.
Yeah.
And so did that. And
this is a cool venue. This venue, by the way, is like they built it state of the art everything at the time. They bought the best mixer you could get. It was so expensive.
$20,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like the best, but it was like a really good digital console that tons of touring artists, I mean, they still like use it. I mean, people come in, they plug in their USB, and like all their settings pop up, and they're good to go.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was dope.
And the venue held like 1,000 people cap, I think, or 1,200.
It was technically 8, but we
pushed it to 1,000.
Pushed that. Yeah, for sure.
Whatever, it's close.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
RIP. The venue no longer exists.
It no longer exists.
But we were there through it all, basically.
Start to finish.
Yeah.
Straight up, start to finish.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And the dude that worked above me, he doesn't work there anymore either. He made like a ton of really terrible like talent buying decisions, and that is actually why we launched The Banger. That was like where that came from. Is we like the venue was like bleeding money because like all these stupid like tours are getting bought.
Just terrible bands, like old shitty rock bands that come with.
I don't want to like shout any of them out because like I don't want to like someone to come after me, but bad like casino acts. That casinos can throw tons of money away because people are gonna stay there and gamble, but a venue can't do that.
No.
And we started this like event, me and Schmitz, and you were in on that.
Yep.
It was like an EDM night, and we started with like, and this is good for any like event promoter because we started this with just an idea, like a concept to build an event that people were like super psyched on, just literally all hype, like 100% hype.
All based off of local. It was at the time
at first, like
local.
the first banger was just local DJs. We went to the dollar store. We spent $100 on dumb props. You set up a photo booth in the corner that had like posters that we printed off in the background. So we ran a photo booth all night and had like bought like a fuckload of glow sticks, ran some drink specials, and then just pumped some music. And people did the first one. We did like straight up 900 kids. The second one we flew like Castlevania from like East Coast. He came out. And that was like 1,300 kids. The third one
in an
was
800
like,
person room.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about sell out, line out the door, ins and outs.
In the winter,
people
snowing.
You filmed all of it because you did all these like highlight videos that also like sort of built into that hype.
Yeah,
and like we just turned this like nothing, like just concept into like this thing that like was literally, it probably kept the venue afloat like
it was crazy.
A few months longer because like it was what we needed every night to be like, but like it wasn't gonna happen. But
I performed with this is a sidebar to this. I performed with Nappy Roots. I opened for Nappy Roots.
We did some cool, like we did a lot of like bullshit active rock stuff because that was kind of that world. But like also we did some cool stuff.
Yeah,
like Tokyo Police Club played there.
Yeah, Tokyo Police Club.
Sick.
We opened for them too. That was crazy. Long Nights played that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I played all the good shows.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was dope.
Not an accident.
No. I mean, I remember pitching them when they were talking about opening that venue. I was like, yo, you guys should have me. I wanted to be a runner really bad. I was like,
you want to go buy groceries?
Yeah,
really
I really wanted to buy groceries really bad but I had done it one time for you and I when like Jay Sean played. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Going down, down. He played and I like drove them around. And I was like, oh, that was cool. I had to drive like an artist around. That was dope. And then I pitched them that and photography. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. And then
it's like the weirdest blend ever.
I
want to be the runner and the photographer.
Yeah. And but it worked. And then I got out of doing running because I was like, I don't know any of this vegan shit, dog. Like, I can't shop for these
especially in Iowa, dude. Yeah. Like you got a vegan come to Iowa and they're like, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I was like,
know.
What the fuck is he talking about? Yeah. I spent so much time shot. It was terrible. But anyway, that venue crushed. The bangers were insane. That blew up. And then we ended up shutting it down
because all the bad talent buying decisions like sank it. And so like we had like 2 weeks notice, from like up top, and they're like, hey, we got to close this down. It's like hemorrhaging money. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
But then they were like, we want to keep you on. Like, we love what you did with the banger. Like, can you move over to this like nightclub? And like it was kind of failing at the time, and they're like, do what you did there and take it over to this nightclub. And I was like, nah. And then they like offered me more money, and I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
all right. Cool. So I went over and like, fresh coat of paint, updated the sound, and then like did some shit, and then that place got really crazy.
It was insane.
But I guess moving backwards a little bit, Bailey, my current business partner, hit me up while I was at Wheelhouse, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna start a booking agency, and I want you to be an agent. Like I'd been booking shows and shit, and like I knew the drill, and that's when that started.
So you were remotely doing. He's living in Seattle.
He's living in Seattle. I'm doing it in Iowa. I mean, it's all on the computer, anyways. Like you don't have to be face to face with anybody. But so I'm booking and doing the venue, and that didn't stop when I went to the nightclub. I went to the nightclub. Things would be popping, and I'd be sitting back in my office, like low key, like sending emails for like tours and shit.
So funny.
Like literally, like we're talking like midnight. Things are like
the best
bumping.
Yeah, the
like,
best time to be there.
Like sold out. Like still, like the nightclub would be 1 in, 1 out, and I'd be like in back, like shooting out some emails, and then I'd like get back out on the floor and make sure everything was cool, and like check on the bartenders, and then like shoot out some more emails.
Yep.
It was a crazy like time of my life.
And
for sure.
And you did it again. Like we're at Pablo's, you hired your friends at Mojo's.
Oh yeah,
it was our friends too.
Mojo's. It was all friends, like all homies, and the entire staff that worked there was like super tight because like we dealt with like the most insane shit. Like,
and the most insane shit, and like this is what ends up like you're sitting here booking for Bailey, and at some point, it gets very low for you. at Mojo's.
Yeah, so
You're working at this club called Mojo's or whatever.
Yeah, it's Mojo's, the nightclub. They tore it down recently.
Yeah,
I
just saw it torn down over Christmas, I think.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
was there 2 weeks ago.
It's weird.
Yeah, but anyways, I was working. There was like a big fight at the end of the night, and it was getting pushed outside. And this was like pretty commonplace. Like it wasn't a big deal. All the security that worked there were fucking top notch. You know, it was a routine night until like shit went out of hand. But like we're out in the street, and I'm like, yo, like. I'm yelling at these dudes. I'm like, yo, get out of here. Like, do yourself a favor. Because, like, this is, like, in, like, the crazy part of the college district. I'm like, cops are already on their way. Like, you've already caused a scene. Like, do yourself a favor. If you don't leave, like, they will arrest you. Like, do yourself a favor. Get out of here. And I was yelling at this one dude. And then next thing I remember, it's, like, 4 hours later. Some dude had, like, come up behind me and, like, hit me on the chin. And, like, lights out. And I'm, like on the ground.
Punch your ass.
Yeah, just, like, from behind. Like, hit the back of your chin, which is, like, the power button. If you've never been punched in the face, like, don't get hit in the jaw because it sucks. And put me on the ground and is, like, fucking me up when I'm unconscious. Like, just, like, messing me up bad. And, like, one of the security guards, who's, like, I still keep in contact with him. He's the best dude ever. Buttons.
Yeah, Buttons.
He, like, ripped this dude off and, like, handled him, you know? But it was
he was like
an
MMA guy.
Yeah, he like still. I think he's still like
training
maybe
MMA.
I know he trains.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still fights, but he was amateur fighting at the time.
Yeah.
And like I was like unconscious, face down on the ground, and this dude is like kicking my head, like stomping on my head. And shit.
Your face was like
fucked. So like first thing I remember is I like come to like I was only unconscious for a couple minutes apparently, but like I lost hours of time, and the next thing I remember, you know. Last thing I remember, bar closed, hundreds of people outside, chaos everywhere, fights, you know, all the security guards are like tied up with these different dudes. Next thing I remember, I'm sitting upright in the bar. I'm covered in blood, like straight up. Like it looks like I got massacred. And I'm like holding my face and I'm like confused because everyone's gone. There's two bartenders. Sean was there.
Yeah.
And
shout out to my boy
Sean, my boy Sean. And a manager from a different nightclub is there closing shit down for me. And I'm like, what happened? Like, I was just so confused because I just lost hours of time. And Sean is like, what do you mean? I was like, what happened? Like, I had been conscious and awake, but like my brain just like clicked, like kind of woke back up. Like I turned away an ambulance, like all this shit had happened and I don't remember any of it. And then I kind of came to again and I'm like, where am I? You know what I mean? And Sean's like, oh shit, we gotta get you to the hospital. So like, so he puts me in his truck and like takes me to the ER, and like they like do like a bunch of scans and shit, and it turns out like I've got a major concussion, memory loss. I have 3 fractures in my right cheekbone, like 2 breaks in my nose. Like I had to consult with a plastic surgeon the next day to make sure that my like face wasn't gonna collapse. You know, like they're like, yo, don't sneeze, like don't pick up anything over 15 pounds, and I'm like. Dude, fuck that. Like, I at the time, I was just like, I already wasn't like at a great point in my life because I was managing a fucking nightclub. Yeah. You know, like, it's not what I dreamed for myself.
Straight edge, too.
Like, I don't drink, and I'm like, managing this nightclub. It was fun. There was like some fun times there, but I was like ready to leave already.
Right.
And then this shit happened, and it's like a sign. And I'm like, you know, I'm not like, I believe that things happen for a reason most of the time, you know? And I'm just like, this is it. Like, this is my son. Like, I've got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So I call Bailey and I'm like, yo, I need to leave. I need to leave right now. And meanwhile, the dude that fucked me up, he had gotten arrested, like, as it happened.
I found him on Facebook.
Bragging about knocking me out.
Yeah, they didn't know who the dude was. And then we kind of like had an idea, and I found the dude's Facebook, and he like wrote on his Facebook wall.
No, they arrested him that night.
They arrested him.
They arrested him, but they didn't keep him. Like he went out on bail.
Yeah.
And the state asked me to press charges, and I'm like, nah, like I'm not interested in that. And at the time too, there was like hella gang activity, and I'm like, yo, I'm not interested. I mean, like on any level, I had already made the decision to move, which we'll get to, but I was just like, that's not my game. Like he's a kid. He was like, you know, like mid-20s. I'm like, I want to fuck this dude's life up. Like, yeah, he was like all worked up and riled up, but like that happens. Yeah. It's natural. Like, I don't blame him. I mean, it was a dumb thing to do, but I'm not. I mean,
we did that to some Nazis.
Yeah,
at the Reverb.
We'll leave that. We'll leave that alone. It happened, but like,
whoopsies.
Yeah, but like, I didn't want to like fuck this dude's life up, but the state picked up the case anyways and put him away for like 10 years.
That's crazy.
He might just be now getting out, or no, he's still in for sure. What was that? 7 years ago. He's probably still in. They used to send me notices and shit, but like
that's crazy.
I like wouldn't testify. I'm like, no, fuck that, dude. Like, I'm not interested in this. I'm moving to Seattle. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I have no interest in this. So, but I took it as a sign. I called up Bailey when all this shit happened. I'm like, yo, I need to get out of here. Like, I need to change of pace. Like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, dude, I actually have a roommate that's moving out right now. You can move in 2 weeks. And I'm like, cool. So I went to...
This is after you got the shit beat out of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as I was like healed-ish, like it was like a couple days after.
His face was fucked.
It was gnarly.
Is there a picture somewhere?
Somewhere. Like deep.
Can I
don't
put
even
it on
like
this
it.
shit?
Dude, it would take me so long to find it. It was crazy. You wouldn't recognize me. Like my face was like huge and like...
Oh, man.
It was gnarly. But I went in, like walked in the corporate office. I had these huge sunglasses on because I was just so fucked up and super self-conscious about how my face... I felt like a hideous monster.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Even like going in the coffee shop, like my wife... I met her there, and we weren't dating yet, and even she was like, "Holy shit!"
Ew.
Yeah, like no, she was
who's
very
that
nice.
freak?
Like, everyone was concerned because like it was not a big town, and people heard about it.
Yeah,
like,
everyone heard about it.
My folks, like I had to have Sean hit my folks up and be like, "Yo, he's alive," because like straight up, like people heard that I died, like which is like the most insane thing. But like,
damn, I
rumors
forgot.
circulate, you know. But I called Bailey, and he's like, "Yo, I got a roommate moving out," and so I like walked into the corporate office, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm putting in my 2 weeks, and I'm out of here." And the dude that owned the company is like, you know, what can I do to convince you to stay? And I was like, you do not have enough money in the world. There's not enough money in the world to get me to stay here. Like, you do not have enough money. Like, straight up, I'm out. And so I sold, like, I had a bunch of furniture and shit that I'd accumulated. You just accumulate shit when you live somewhere long enough. And I sold it all. And I had this little 2-door Celica at the time. Everything that I kept, I put in that 2-door Celica, and I drove across the country to Seattle.
Riley.
With Riley.
Who also helps me run a bunch of the back end shit on Black Window Cream.
Riley, what up?
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, if I fly you back from Seattle, and he was like not loving his job either. And I actually think he might have just quit too. He was working at ICE. But
probably.
Regardless, he drove out with me, which is good because I was on like hella pain meds, and you should not drive when you're on like Vicodin and stuff. Shit gets a little loopy. And so he like drove out to Seattle, crashed for a few days out in Seattle, and then flew home, which was cool. It was really, shouts to Riley because that was dope. And I just like started this new life in Seattle. I didn't know anybody. I didn't really have a plan per se. I was just like sort of in this mode where I was just like, you know, I'm gonna say yes to everything. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna turn down anything.
I love that.
And so I like was living in Seattle, booking tours, not making enough money booking tours by itself. So I started working at this print shop. Like it was run out of the house that we lived in like a little mother-in-law suite downstairs. It was kind of a dope setup, like for being super DIY because like we had tons of dogs at the house and like we were there all day, and so we just like let the dogs run free all day. Like we had a big fenced-in backyard and shit, and we just like print merch out of the basement. And I started like cleaning screens and like just doing like odd jobs, you know, and did that. And that whole year was like amazing. Like it was a good year. Yeah. Like I, you know, like climbed a couple mountains and like not. Literally. Like I did like a 2-day hike up Mount Adams, which was like the dopest thing I've ever done. Yeah. And did a bunch of cool shit.
Because low key, you got like really active. Because you used to be like bigger and shit, and you just
I just like did like a lot of like rock climbing and like the Puget Sound. I mean, if you've never been to the Pacific Northwest, like go to the Pacific Northwest. If you're into nature shit, like it's untouchable. Fucking crazy. But like we kayak like all the time in the Puget Sound and like do a bunch of rock climbing. I like started doing like indoor climbing at this really dope gym up there, and like I loved it. It was like such a healthy place for me to be. It was like a fresh breath of air. Like I felt like everything was like complete shit when I was in Iowa. Even I told my family and shit, I'm like, yo, I'm moving in 2 weeks. Like I'm moving to Seattle, and they were all like, that's probably a good thing. Yeah. Like everyone, like my grandma, who's like one of my best friends on earth, she was like, I think she like low-key thought I was on drugs. Like, because like I was so unhappy and like sickly when I was like living in Iowa because I wasn't sleeping and doing anything, you know. Most of my friends had I'd lost contact with a lot of them because I did nothing but work. We worked all the time. It was crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you just lose contact. Even some of the show booking, like I was still booking shows, but like I wouldn't even be able to go. I'd have to have somebody else run it for me. Yeah. I just like let things spiral. And so I got to Seattle, and it was like a fresh breath of air, like it was such a good, positive place to like start over. Yeah, it was incredible. And so I lived there for a year and was still booking tours, you know, really loving that, working at the print shop, sort of developing that as well. And then I don't want to get too far into it, but they, my current business partner and his old partner had like a falling out, and the old business partner approached me and was like, I want you to buy me out. And again, I was still in this like yes man mode where I was just like, nah, I think I'd seen that movie maybe recently. Did you ever see that?
Yes Man with
I think
who the fuck played
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim Carrey, I think.
I want to say Jim Carrey, but I don't know if I'm confusing that with Bruce Almighty. But like, it's not. I mean, it's not important. It's he was like, I sort of loosely remember the plot. He had to say yes to everything, some curse or some shit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also funny because I don't know how many times I fucking promote that in this goddamn podcast.
Yes Man?
No, just not the movie.
Jim Carrey?
You guys need to see the movie, guys. I'm telling you, the times that I've seen the movie, I promote the movie all the time. We go back, flashback to where I was when I first saw it. All these things. It was very nice. No, I talk about saying yes, just like the ability to like when I moved here, all I did was say fucking yes, even if I had no clue what the fuck I was doing.
Important. It's so fucking important because like at the time I was just like, it was so like the amount of money. I obviously won't get too far into that either, but like it was an amount of money I'd never held in my own two hands. But I was still like, what do I have to lose? Like right now I'm like just floating. And I really needed that time to like reset. But like, I was like, yeah, I've never even thought about, I'd always wanted to own my own business. Yeah. But I'd never really like thought about doing merch or whatever. But like, I like merch. Yeah. I wore merch. I bought merch.
Bought merch a lot.
And probably too much merch.
Bought way too much.
But so he approached me to like buy out his half. It was kind of messy, but it happened. And a month later, I bought in, and a month later we moved to, like that night sort of decided like we should move to California. And
why?
So
was there any like reason? Like
we
was the
had
market
like,
better?
Every time I had gone, when I was still living in Iowa, I'd come out to Santa Barbara all the time to visit Rob, who you should probably have on this podcast.
I should. I would love to. Rob Clausen, amazing photographer.
Amazing photographer, works for the hundreds, just killing it, absolutely killing it. Awesome photography, check it out. But I'd come out to Santa Barbara all the time and visit Rob, and I loved California. I always loved SoCal. I thought it was like the dopest place on earth. It was always paradise. We'd hang out at the beach and like. So I always kind of wanted to eventually make my way down here. Same thing with my business partner. We had just done a Mexican tour with his band, Grave Maker. Yeah. We did Mexico and then like ended. It was the craziest tour ever, and like we ended in a really crazy night in Tijuana, and then like the next day we like walked across the border to San Diego and had this like amazing day just chilling on the beach and stuff. And we both were like, "Yo, we should move here," like for sure. So like I bought out his old business partner, and we were both like, we should move to California. And so like literally we put in our 30-day notice like with our landlord right away, and then that night bought tickets for the next day to fly down to California. And so we flew to Long Beach and like chilled with our buddy Nate for like, he let us crash there for like 4 or 5 days and just grinded, like trying to find a place.
Is that why you guys chose Long Beach? Was because you had a friend in Long Beach?
We chose Long Beach because, and this isn't so much the case anymore, but at the time it was like the cheapest coastal spot in like the LA area that you could live and like own a business. And so it's not really that way anymore, but at the time it was like, oh, this is the spot to be. So we flew down and we literally were just like on Craigslist, like trying to find a place to be, right? Like trying to find a warehouse, not even a warehouse, just like we had been used to operating out of a house, and we didn't want to do that anymore because there's a lot of problems with that. So we spent days, like literally morning to night, trying to find a place to open up shop because we had already put in our 30 days in Seattle. So we had to move. By the time we were done with this 5-day trip, we had to have a place to be. And we weren't finding shit because we had shot too low on like how much space we'd need. And then we realized that was too low. And so we had all this stuff lined up to look at spots that were too small. Yeah. So we were like at like a Starbucks or some shit in like a Ralph's or whatever, and like leeching internet, and we found the spot downtown Long Beach. And I called the dude. I'm like, yo, can you show it to us? And he's like, why don't you go look at it first? Like go look through the window, and then if you're interested, call me. And so I'm like, oh, that's a little weird, but whatever. So like we go down and go check it out, and we can't really see anything because there's it's like a front office, and then there's like a big wall like at the front. So I call him, I'm like, it looks cool, like can you come down and check it out? Or like let us in so we can scope it. And he comes down, and he's like an old punk rock dude. He's got a Black Flag tattoo. I have a Black Flag tattoo. And so we were like instantly like, yes, this is awesome. This is cool. And he was like all psyched because like he was.
Did he think it was shitty or something? Why did he say that? Like go look.
Well, because like people probably get hit up all the time to be like, oh, can you let us, we want to check it out, because it was like downtown or whatever, and then they see it, they're not that interested. It was like an underground, like kind of dingy spot, so it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
But we're like, it was like an office space, and we like, hopefully, no, it's cool. But like, it was like an office space, and he's like, we're like, can we like tear down some walls and shit? And he's like, you can do whatever you want to it. And so we literally like spent like the first couple weeks we were there, like gutting this place,
just demoing. And
but what's crazy is I just totally skipped over this. So anyways, we signed the lease. We go back to Seattle, pack all our shit up. We're doing this crazy for us at the time, doing this crazy order and like literally packing as we go. We move down to Long Beach. We drive like straight up like 24.
Like a huge U-Haul or something?
We rented a 20-foot U-Haul, crammed all our shit into it. I sold my car, left it in Seattle, sold it. Sean drove his truck down. Sean from Mojos.
From the guy we shouted out earlier.
Sean Skyber.
Which I want on here sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me and Sean have been in bands since day one. Like,
and he was in his bands.
Like we've all been.
He does awesome video shit.
His video shit's
9-1 Films.
Fuck, yeah.
Like they're doing cool stuff.
They're really
Check
dope.
them out. So we drove down. I was sick as fuck. Like I remember like eating like a Taco Bell burrito on the way down and like throwing it up like outside of the parking lot, like not feeling good. And we get down, and there's like a bunch of bands. We had friends already down in Long Beach that we were moving into a house with, and
didn't you move into the dude from fucking Comeback Kids?
Yeah, Kyle, who was playing at the time, he was playing drums for this band, the hardcore band, Comeback Kid, and his wife, and they had found a house for us, which was really cool. And so me and Sean moved in with them, but the first night there was a tour that had come through town, and so we had this like empty ass house, and we had like 3 bands staying in this house. So we parked the U-Haul. We couldn't get keys until the next day because we showed up like pretty late, like I don't know, at night at some point. And so we were gonna get keys in the morning to go unload the U-Haul. So we parked it like right outside of our house. Literally, that U-Haul's there for like maybe 6 hours, and someone came at like 3 a.m. and stole it with all of our shit in it.
Like took the fucking U-Haul.
Literally, like, and I don't know how no one heard this thing fire up because we had probably 20 people sleeping in this house this night. Like just air mattresses fucking everywhere. No one had like anything because we hadn't unpacked anything. Right. All my shit was in there, plus all the company's shit that I had just bought half of. And someone fucking took the U-Haul like in the middle of the night.
God damn.
And we were woken up to a phone call from Corona PD, which is like an hour plus away from Long Beach, saying, hey, we found your U-Haul in Corona. It's like mostly empty, but we got it, so you should come pick it up. We're like, holy shit. We like couldn't even believe it. Run outside. Sure enough, U-Haul's gone. This thing had only been in there for like a couple hours, and they boosted in the middle of the night and took it and like emptied it out. And the cops like fucked it up so bad. Like they released the U-Haul like right away back to U-Haul. Like didn't do like proper investigative work. So like all the people, because they caught the dudes like unloading it in the middle of the night, and they all got off, like every single one of them. And
how? Like what do you mean?
I have no idea like how this was allowed to happen, but like because they had released the U-Haul too quickly, like they couldn't do like any like fingerprinting or any of that shit. And so literally all these fools got off. And so it was, and we had bought like the premium insurance through U-Haul. They said, like, when we got it, they're like, oh, this covers everything under the sun. And it does cover the theft, but it does not cover the theft of the contents of the U-Haul. They've changed that since, apparently. But they loopholed us. So we literally probably lost, like, I would say, like 50 to 60 grand of shit, like, right off the bat.
And a startup, too, dog.
Literally, like a tiny-ass shop. Like, all the merch. We had a whole merch store. All that was gone. They were stealing equipment. They broke a bunch of shit. Like, we literally, this is day one of being in California, and we're like, fucked. Like Bailey and I are looking at each other like, this might be it. This might be it. We might be done. Straight up. We just signed a 2-year lease, like all this crazy shit. And we're starting completely from scratch. And I'm panicked because I had just spent all this money. Like buying this company literally like a month before. And we have nothing now, pretty much like completely bare bones starting over. And we got super lucky, and this is the importance of having really fucking awesome friends. A bunch of bands heard what happened and put in like big orders with us, cash in advance. And so we're literally buying equipment to print these orders. And he gave us like tons of time. They're like, we don't need this for a month. You know, bands like Comeback Kid, Bane, you know, this band Trapped Under Ice, like all hooked it up super hard for us. Like
some of
really
like the biggest,
on.
These are like the biggest bands in
that world. They were
world.
like instrumental and they literally like saved Overcast. Like they are responsible for Overcast still existing because like we literally were buying equipment with the money that they used to pay for their order to print their order. And like me and B didn't take a check for literally like probably 4 months, like straight up, like nothing, and living off like just eating ramen. And like I didn't have a car, so I was like sleeping. We're doing all this demo work, like which we did all ourselves, of course, and like tore down like all these like partitioning walls and stuff like that. And we're doing all this demo work. And you know what? Spirits are like, considering all the shit that happened, we had a lot of fun. Like I remember like me, Sean, and Bailey like tearing that place down and like having a good time doing it, which was crazy. Like considering everything that just happened, I think we were all still in a little bit of shock and like, disbelief. But like we had a really good time. We were tearing it down. But I remember like sleeping in the shop, like, and I had my dog, and it was either like walk, you know, an hour and a half at like 2 a.m. through fucking Long Beach to get home, or like just sleep there, you know. So like I would just like curl up, cover myself in t-shirts in like the back office and like sleep. Jesus. You know, but like that's like some of the shit that you gotta do it, you know. Like you have your hustle. Like I remember when you first moved here, you were straight up sleeping on floors and shit. Like to make it, you gotta do what you gotta do. I agree. You know what I mean? Like what's the alternative? Like you just fold up, like you just fold, you know, you just give up, or like are you gonna be like, all right, this is really shit, but like I'm gonna make the best of it. And like our friends pulled through it for us in like a super major way. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, was like instrumental in like me personally being able to.
Did she move to Seattle?
No. So she moved. She was gonna move to Seattle. She had made the decision. She was graduating college. She had made the decision to move to Seattle because she'd come out and visit and really liked it. We were doing the long distance thing for about like 6 months. And then I told her like, oh, hey, surprise, we're moving to Long Beach in like a month. And she's like, I've never been to California, but all right, cool. And so like she straight up blind moved to California that's why we're married. She's like the dopest girl on earth.
God damn.
She's cool. She's awesome. But she is literally like, she helped keep us afloat for those first like 4 months. No check, no money coming in, zero. Every dollar that shop made went back into the shop existing. And it was really like that for a while. Like I would say the first year, you know, like not really taking a check. Like, I mean, we were taking checks, but like very small, just enough to get by. Like rent's due. Okay, here is your rent. Or, oh, you actually like do not have any food. Here is a small amount for groceries. Like, and it was like that for a while, you know? And that's like, at the end of the day, like it made us like way stronger. There was some really stressful times in those first couple of years that were like really brutal. Like we flew like pretty under the radar for a while on like a lot of shit. And it wasn't until like really a couple years ago that we were able to like expand and like, cause we spent so much time catching up. Right. And those were tough. It was tough times. Like thinking back on that, I'm like, wow, like holy fuck. Yeah. I can't believe we like did that, you know, because now it's like things are going really well and like, you know,
it's growing.
It's growing and like we get to like print for all these like fucking amazing people and artists and I think about the origin story and like all the crazy shit that happened and I'm like, damn, like that was nuts. You know, those are like crazy ass times.
Crazy. Like think about what you guys. It's interesting to actually think about that. Like, where would you guys be right now if you hadn't gotten all of your shit taken from you?
Like this kind of comes back to what I'm saying earlier. Like,
can't regret it.
I'm not bummed that happened because like I'm really happy with where we're at now. And like everything that happens like leads to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. I don't know where, if we had moved in, you know, maybe we'd be way ahead of where we are now, but maybe we wouldn't, you know, like that really like strengthened our resolve and helped us. Like it still helps us, I think, get through the tough times. Like when things kind of stack up, it's like, yeah, but I mean, remember that shit? Like that shit was crazy. We did that. We can do this, you know? Crazy. And I think that's really important. Like, and that really bridges to a lot of people's stories. Like everyone has to overcome adversity. Like it makes you a better person, you know, like it makes you stronger, you know, like when you break a bone, they always say that it like comes back like stronger. That applies to a lot of things. Like if you don't overcome those issues, you don't like, you learn a lot about your own abilities and your own strength and your own mental will when you have to overcome shit like that. And like, that's important. Like owning your own business is it's hard as
Yeah.
fuck, and there's a lot of time and energy that goes into that, and like it's not for everybody. But if you teach yourself that you can do these things and you can overcome these issues, like it makes you like mentally a stronger person. I think that's super important, you know, and everyone's got that. Everyone's got things they've run into. You're no exception to that. Like you were sleeping on floors and shit, and now like you're killing it, you know? It's messed up.
I fucking love that. That's so unfortunate, obviously, but it only makes sense to your credibility now as a business owner and how fucking far you guys have come. Like the amount of, and the people that you guys have worked for are dope. There's people that you've worked for that you can't talk about contractually or whatever. You just NDAs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, who would you say are some of the illest people that you've worked with?
We did like a print project for Playboy that I loved. I thought it was like so much fun that we did like all this like these like old like military jackets that they like repurposed, and like it was really sick. We were collabing, and we still work with this company, Lock, Stock and Barrel, a ton. They're LA based company. They fucking kill it. They do pop-up shops, and like they had a pop-up shop on 5th Ave in New York on in North Face, where they would do like custom like work in North Face, like doing all these like,
that's sick.
People would buy shit and then take it to them and be like, I want this on it. And
Yeah.
they would just do these like and they do amazing work. They have actual like brick and mortar shops here in LA. Like look them up, go check them out. The shit is fucking sick. And everyone on that team, they are like hustlers beyond hustlers. Like,
and so they provide you.
so like
clients
we
or
like
something?
collab on shit,
Okay.
you know, like they would like, we would do the print work or like the embroidery work, patchwork, and they would like, you know, tool these like different garments and stuff. And it's so dope to like, we would go on like Playboy's site and they would be in their merch, you know, like
crazy.
buy online. I was like, oh fuck, I literally had my hands on that. And like we've done like work for Levi's, you know, we work for right now we're doing the Aaron Style Festival. That's dope. We've done that for years. Like those are all like, we do full fulfillment for like this band Manchester Orchestra. We do like all their tour supply, all their web stuff. If you haven't listened to them, they just put out like my favorite record of the year last year.
Album.
You know, we do web store fulfillment. Like we just took over this dude, Andrew McMahon. He is like,
who is that?
he was in this band Something Corporate, like in the early-ish 2000s.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
then he did this band Jack's Mannequin after that. Now
he did Jack's Mannequin?
Yeah, that's him. And now he's got another band. He's like reinvented himself like so many times, and it's like as an artist and as a person, he is like the dopest dude. Like,
Man, I haven't thought about Jack's Mannequin in so long.
Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness is his current band, and they kill it. They're absolutely.
check
And as a human being, he is like one of my favorite people.
Crazy.
Like he like has overcome so much shit. He does a nonprofit called Dear Jack. The Dear Jack Foundation works with like cancer patients, and
Dope.
it is like the coolest shit ever.
Very
but
cool.
like my face-to-face with Andrew is always amazing. He is someone that cares more about his fans than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. Like
That's sick.
the whole time I've spent in this industry, like I can say he's like one of the most genuine human beings on earth.
Damn.
So it's cool. But we
Yeah.
get to do a lot of shit like that, and I love it. It's great. I mean,
And you
that's
worked
the
with
dream.
Frank Ocean and shit too, right?
Yeah, we did like an embroidery project for Frank. That was cool. It was kind of like one of those things I didn't realize it was for Frank Ocean until like the invoice kind of came around. I was like, oh fuck, like, because it was like one off. It was like one off like design shit. It was cool. I mean, like we do shit for like YouTube Red, and like
That's tight.
it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like again, like looking back to where we started and like where we're at now, like it's really cool.
Would you say that being the transition to just be in LA is crucial as far as building up clientele in that world? Because think about now, like the amount of artistry that's out here, the amount of like talent online in the digital space. Like, are you falling into more of that being here?
Well, and like I felt that way booking tours too. Like I felt really pigeonholed when I was in Iowa because I wasn't really like making connects. Like there is definitely something to be said. You know, you feel like, oh, you should just be able to develop yourself wherever you're at. But I'm telling you, like straight up, being in like a cultural hub like New York City or LA or like any like major area, like you are gonna just network more. You're gonna meet more people. Like it is inevitable. Like you go to a show and like you run into like the craziest shit. I heard you talking about when you had like you were like at a bar and like ran into like Donald Glover. Like that's the shit that happens when you live in places like this. You know what I mean? And like there is a lot of value to that. It you know, the caliber of clients that we have now is definitely geographically like driven in a lot of sense. There's a lot of companies and merchandise companies that wouldn't be able to work with us because of well, you guys have to ship out of Alabama, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like being in an area like this makes things a lot easier. And I firmly believe that not only on like the merchandise end, but also like when you're doing any sort of talent management, talent booking, like there's a reason those offices are in Toronto, LA, Nashville, New York. Like it's because of
That's where the fucking talent's
it's
at.
where the talent is at. And not just that, but they will always, every tour will go through those cities. Mm-hmm. That's FaceTime with directly with your clients. Like if you're the one booking the talent, you need to be going to the shows. You need to be developing those relationships. That's really, really important. Mm-hmm. And being in a major area like this helps. Like when I moved here, I met so many people. Like I started when we moved here, I was still booking tours. So was Bailey. Like we both were doing tours and doing the merch company.
Moved to LA.
When we moved to LA, we were still doing both. And like, there's a reason for that. Like when we were here, we made so many more connects and met so many more bands. And like, it was really important. And I'm still friends like with a lot of those industry people because like we developed really close relationships. Mm-hmm. And like, shit, I like grabbed dinner with a couple of them last night. You know what I mean? Like it's really important. You build friendships, and that really goes a long way.
When did you guys fold? Is Bailey still booking or no?
We both. So we had gotten an offer to work for a bigger agency, which I won't get too far into it because a lot of stuff's changed over there. And like anything in the talent booking world, like it changes like the drop of a hat. It's like if you can survive in that world, like kudos to you, because the landscape for talent booking is always changing. Mm-hmm. Like, there was like Agency Group, which is like the big talent booking agency at the time. They got bought out by UTA. Like shit like that is always changing in that world, and it's really dynamic. It makes things really exciting, but also like it's not, especially when you're developing and you're working with a lot of developing artists. It can be a really like volatile and like kind of unstable environment. Right. We got offered to basically get absorbed into a bigger agency, and really it came down to it was a fork in the road. We either do talent booking full time and move into that, and we'd be a little bit more protected in like a bigger agency, which you kind of need to shield yourself in that way. Yeah. Or we do the merch game full time.
And at this time, how long had you guys been in LA? Because I mean, was this in the time that you were struggling? You know what I mean? That comeback?
It was like, we were kind of past the like struggling
like where you're
portion.
getting your shit together. Because I was going to say, it would be hard to pass that up.
We had moved into a warehouse, and it would have been a lot easier if we had like just gotten robbed and like got in it. We'd been like, all right, cool, see ya. But like we were, the merch game was really thriving for us. We love it. Like we were hustling super hard, and we had invested so much, like blood, sweat, and tears, like kind of climbing out of the hole that we had gotten into when we first moved here. And so we had this fork in the road, and like, okay, we either go work at this talent booking agency, and that's going to have to pretty much take precedence over everything else, or we focus full time on the merch and go that direction. And we talked about it and had some good conversations, and we turned down the offer. And that night I let go of like 25 bands. Like I wanted everyone to hear it from me, because I decided like, okay, I need to pick a path, and I need to put 100% into it.
Wait, so you told them no on the offer?
I told them no on the offer. Same day, I was like, I'm done booking tours. Like if I'm not going to grow into another agency, then I've already peaked. I'm already hit the top of where I'm going to be, So in that instance, like I need to pick a lane. I'm either going to do this full time, and then I need to take that offer, or if I'm not going to take that offer, that's a sign to me that like, okay, I need to focus on the merch company full time. That needs to be my focus. And so I turned that down, decided I wasn't booking, and let go of all of my 25 bands that night. Like I spent like 4 hours on the phone. I called every band myself. I didn't want to hear from anybody else. I wanted to hear it directly from me, because like when you're booking bands or you're managing bands or they're on your label, like you develop really personal relationships. I'm still friends with tons of the bands that I booked at the time. Like it was my birthday yesterday, no big deal. And a ton of those dudes like reached out to me and were like, yo, happy birthday. Like we still have relationships, because we worked so hard together to like develop their band into a national touring act that like was worth something. And that's a lot of energy. It's like being in a band with somebody.
Absolutely.
And so
It's an element of that whole package.
it's a team. Like you really work, like when you're working with other managers and like you just foster these relationships and you build them up. And it was really hard. Like it was a really mentally like draining night. I was just like, by the time I got done with it, I was exhausted. I think I went to sleep like right away. Yeah. But I let go of all my bands and like I tried to help place some of them in like different places with agents that I really believed in. That I thought like, hey, yo, this guy would really kill it for you. He's a hard worker. Like get up with him. I'll connect you on email. You know, I didn't want to just like be like, all right, see ya, I'm out, you know? But I was done. And, you know, Bailey kind of went the same direction. You know, he's still kind of like dabbled in a few bands, but he definitely like, we moved into that area where it's like, all right, merch game full time. Let's crush it. Like, let's put all our fucking time and energy and mental capacity into this merch business and like see where we can go, see what we can do.
And you guys totally excelled. So it's like, you win.
Yeah, I mean it's been dope, and it, you know, like I'm not gonna say we're like the Warren Buffett of merch. That's ridiculous. But
soon
like,
come.
yeah,
Soon
but
come.
like, you know, it's always developing. But like every milestone, you need to appreciate it. You need to celebrate it, and then you need to remember where you came from.
Yeah.
So you can keep your perspective and be like, I mean, you can also like it kind of keeps you humble, but like if you don't celebrate those milestones, like you burn out super hard. So like you really need to take the time. It's hard. You get lost in it when you're going, you know, you're like, oh, you know, what's next? But then like if you slow down and you take the time and really realize like, wow, we just printed for this like crazy ass artist. Like as a kid, I never would have imagined that we'd be working with somebody of this caliber, like bands that I grew up listening to or like hearing on the radio or like seeing on MTV. Like we work with artists like that, of that caliber, and I'm like, that is so cool.
It's
like,
the weirdest feeling on earth.
It is. And you know, because you work with all these
100%.
crazy ass artists, and like, would you have ever imagined that 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago? Like, you need to take the time to appreciate that and celebrate that, because
I completely agree.
You know, like it's easy to get lost in the hustle, and like when you work so much, you know, 15, 16 hours a day, every day, like it's easy to get lost in it. But take the time, appreciate it, appreciate the people around you that helped get you to there. You know, like it's a team effort. On like at least in the merch world, like you know, like I appreciate everyone that I work with. Like they are what keeps the machine running. You know, and that's important.
That's dope. The two things I want to like note or whatever that I just came to my head. Let's talk about how the U.S. military is trash.
Well, okay.
For the no one take that fucking bit of me saying that.
That's
word.
good, dude. You are gonna.
One of my homies is like one of the illest veterans.
Yeah,
I ever know.
You are gonna get destroyed for that bit.
All right, what I was saying is that they had Doyle almost print for them.
So okay. I don't want to touch on this too long because I don't want the military.
I have to I need to clear myself for
I don't want the military coming after me.
Yeah.
It was like the ROTC, it was like some contract that we were after, and it was like insane. We were like, oh my God, like if we get this, we're buying like multiple machines, we're going to do all this crazy shit. And like we had worked the offer down like so low. Like it was
and
like,
mind you, like they were going to literally buy multiple of those
autos, like
machines.
we were going to buy like tons of them to facilitate this order. It was like a 4-month-long contract. It was for like 500,000 garments. Like it was going to be like,
God, 500,000 fucking pieces.
It's a lot of
merch.
fucking t-shirts. I don't know if you ever seen what 500,000 shirts looks like, but it's a lot. So like we were like bidding on this. We're like so excited. In hindsight, I am glad we didn't get it because we would have been in way over our heads. But like, we ended up losing the contract. So I'm told, and like I don't want to like completely blast this out.
I said this.
This is like rumors on the water. We lost it by like 10, like not even like, it was like 5 cents a shirt or some shit.
To fucking China, dog.
China, dude.
They went with China over a fucking local, homegrown, American printing company.
Again, dude, I don't want the military to come after me, like straight up. Maybe it wasn't China. I hope it wasn't. I hope it was somewhere else, but like pretty crazy, dude.
That's a super American thing to do, dog.
I mean, everything's made in China, dude.
Yeah.
Trump's hats are made in China or whatever.
DJI drones are made in China.
Good drone, though.
It's a good drone.
Yeah.
You just got one, sort of.
Yeah. Sort of. I'll fly it, dude.
Yeah, you should
It'll be
fly
cool.
it. You
Yeah,
should.
I'm gonna. I actually just got a toy drone, and like I don't know if you saw the video online.
I did.
It's like a little like $50 drone. I got it stuck in a tree, like almost instantly, like a really high tree.
I've been there, dude.
And so I'm on my parents' roof, and like trying to get this drone down, right? Because it's like tangled up in this tree.
Yeah.
And like I've got like my dad's pole saw, and I'm like trying to like bop it out. And I feel like I'm a kid again because like I'm on the roof and my dad's like, sit down, like you're too close to the edge. And like my little sister's boyfriend is like, he's like, I'll hold the back of your shirt. You can kind of like lean out and get it.
Oh my God.
And we're like, stories up.
It's like $50, dude.
And it's like, but I want it. I just fucking got it.
Yeah,
and like,
I feel you.
And so like,
Is it worth your life?
so
Yeah.
I'm on the roof and like my wife comes out and we're supposed to like meet her aunt at the coffee shop and she's like, oh, we're supposed to go right now. And I'm like, I'm trying to get this drone. Like it's on that's in this tree. And so like we go and get like a bunch of like basketballs and shit. And I'm on my parents' roof like I hit it. I like throw a bunch of frisbees, miss it, hit it with the basketball first try. No big deal.
There you go.
Knock it out of the tree and I still have it. So
congrats, dude. I'm happy for you.
I'm a pro droner now.
Nah.
No, that doesn't qualify.
No. And the other thing I wanted to note was when you went and when you got engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we went to your wedding. It was fucking amazing. He had the coolest fucking wedding at Big Bear Mountain in this fucking like scout. What was that place?
It's a YMCA camp.
YMCA camp.
Camp Ron Meadow. Look it up. Shout out to them.
Super sick.
Like best staff ever.
The best. Cool. It was like all these little cabins. Everyone had like cabins with bunk beds and shit. And they just like basically were like, cool, we're just going to get married in this fucking prairie in the middle of the mountains. And it's the illest looking scenery I've ever seen. I
had people like text me like when some of the wedding photos came out. My girl Ashley shot the wedding. She did an amazing job.
Hey, Ashley, if you're listening to this, I want you on my podcast. I said you were thinking about waiting, but I'm going to get you on here soon.
Ashley Osborne, look her up. She works with the dopest artists like ever. Like, it's crazy.
Concert photographer and shit like that.
Yeah,
and
she's
like
a concert photographer. She
yeah.
does like crazy work. Look her up.
Yeah, I want to meet her.
She's got an awesome online following. She's literally one of my favorite people on this earth. She did the photography, and I had people like text me like, "Oh, cool Photoshop background, dude," because it looks like it like visually.
It was
insane.
insane. I think cool. I'll find the video clip and maybe I can put it on top of while we're talking this. But it was like. Just the drone shot that we grabbed real quick.
Oh,
and
dude.
Then you like come up and you see where we're at. We're literally in the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's cool. You shot, 9-1 Films did our wedding video, which was super dope of them.
I'm excited to see it.
It's so good. Yeah. I can't believe I haven't sent it to you. But Ben actually did some drone work for it. The very end of the video has got your drone shot in it. It's super beautiful.
There was one drone shot that I shot. I was like pretty drunk at the time I shot it. And it was like at sunset. It was sick. I was like, damn.
I think that's in there too.
Tight.
Yeah, in the middle of it.
It's fucking awesome.
You were drunk when you did that.
Yep.
That's cool.
They just had like a bunch of beer and shit sitting somewhere and like all this vegan shit. And we were eating donuts. There were so many donuts. I just kept eating so many donuts.
Donuttery.
What a great. Anyway, your wedding was the shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. If I can link, are you gonna post the wedding video?
I'll post it.
Maybe it'd be cool.
We wanted to show our family first, so we didn't like put it up. But
right.
like we just went back to Iowa, showed all our family and stuff. And
sick.
So
he said he cried 10 times when he watched. The first 10 times he watched it, he cried 10 times.
Sean brought it over to me and like let me watch it, and like I watched it for 2.5 hours. Like Lindsay had like. She loved it. She watched it several times, but she had to work in the morning. She literally she went to bed, and she's like, "Are you gonna come to bed?" I'm like, "I gotta watch this like another like." It's a 13-minute video. I watched it for like 2.5 hours.
God, that's so tight.
Yeah, I cried upon.
Anyway, you guys go to Thailand, and this is where you get engaged, right?
Yeah, we got engaged in Thailand.
Just tell me the story because he posted this post on Facebook about their trip in Thailand and specifically trying to take a boat from some island to some island or whatever it was. And almost fucking died. Him and Lindsay.
So we had just when we got engaged, it was amazing. It was not where I thought we were going to get engaged, but we were up in this city called Chiang Rai. And some locals had told us about like, oh, you should go to this lookout. It's like on the border of Thailand and Laos. It's called Phu Pha. Like it's like 70 miles away. So we rented scooters and we rode these fucking scooters 140 miles round trip, like on these. We're straight up going through like villages, villages where they're carrying water in buckets, like back to their houses, like very rural Thailand. Yeah, and we're like riding these little scooters, and we get to the base of this. It's like a little tiny hike, nothing major, but like it's a lookout. It looks over. You're on the border of Thailand, Laos, literally standing. You can jump back and forth,
sick.
Looking over. Into Laos, like all these like mountains covered in clouds. It's beautiful. Look it up. It's cool. We get engaged. It's amazing. Like we have such a good time. We go back to Chiang Rai, end up back in Bangkok. And then we had backpacked for like a couple weeks, and the whole premise of the trip was like, we're going to do all this like traveling and sightseeing, and then we're going to go to this island called Koh Phangan. And we're going to chill there for the last week we're there. We're just going to chill. It's going to be really cool.
Which is like what? Like resorty, like beach type shit?
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of a party island. Like they do like
Luau's
like
and
this.
shit?
No, they do like this like moon festival on one of the islands. There's like 3 islands. I think it's Copenhagen they do it, but like tons of DJs and shit go there and like party
Take
up. And
ayahuasca
it's a big like tourist.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A lot of like Westerners and shit.
That's
there.
cool,
But it was cool. So we take this charter bus like 8 hours to like where they launch the boats out of, and it was like pretty stormy all night. The other weird thing about being in Thailand is like when you're on buses and shit, the military like stops your buses all the time and like boards and like checks everyone out. Like, but since I was like this white dude like covered in tattoos, every fucking time we stopped, they woke me up if I was sleeping or whatever, asked for my passport with like huge like assault rifles on their back, and I'm like, at first I was like shook as hell. I was like, dude, I have no fucking idea what's gonna go on. Is this guy gonna pull me out and shoot me? Like, what the fuck is happening? But then I got kind of used to it. But anyways, the whole night that we're like driving down, it's like super stormy, and I'm like, this is gonna be super sketchy. Like, we're gonna end up in the middle of the ocean. Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, no big deal. They wouldn't launch the boat if it was like super fucked up. So we get there. It's still pretty stormy, but like it doesn't look like there's hella waves or anything. And so they load everyone onto the boats, and they like load like all the suitcases onto the front of the boat. And we start going out, and like almost instantly, like we're on the inside. There's like 2 tiers to this boat, and like
how many people do you think are on this boat?
probably like 100,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Like a decent amount of people. And people would like start screaming right away. All the luggage like falls down, and like me and Lindsay and like this woman next to me, we're all kind of like laughing. Like, this is not that big of a deal. Relax.
It's nighttime?
This is day. Because we took the charter bus through the night. And then this is the morning.
Okay, cool.
And we get out to the ocean, and it starts getting rockier and rockier and rockier. And then eventually it's like slamming down, right? This lady, we were like sitting in the second row seats. There's no like seatbelts or anything. This is a boat in fucking Thailand. Like there's no seatbelts or anything. You're like having to hold on to the seat in front of you. And I remember this lady like panicking, and she like gets up. She's sitting in the front row. She gets up, tries to run to the back of the boat. It throws her. Like literally the boat throws her onto this luggage. Her husband like panics, tries to get up and help her. It throws him. He smashes his head on like Lindsay's armrest. Like we're sitting in an aisle, and like he's like laying in the middle of the aisle. No one can help him.
Oh my God.
The staff, like, bro, is so fucked up.
That's so terrifying.
It's insane that one of the guys on the like the staff of the boat tries to come up and help him, and like is like, I can't. Like physically, like you could not get up. I'm like holding onto the seat for dear life. I've never gotten seasick in my life. I love being on boats. I love being in the ocean, like surfing, all that shit. I eat it up. And I was like sick as shit, and like passing out, like straight up blacking out from like how crazy this is.
Holy shit, and you're supposed to be holding on for safety.
You're literally holding on to the seat in front of you, and I'm like, I've got a fever all of a sudden. Like me and Lindsay are both like just fucked up. I'm like, I've got headphones in because people are screaming and crying, and it's like chaos, dude. It's like a movie.
And how long is this boat trip supposed to be?
It's supposed to be an hour and a half. It ends up taking 3 hours to get there.
Oh my God.
And it's like, I'm listening to this band. I listen to them all the time. It's this DJ, Tycho. And it's like my chill out, like zen out music, you know? And I'm listening to it, and like I'm like, okay, breathe, chill, it's cool, you're not gonna die. And then the song would like fade out at the end, and like with the fade out, the fader of the boat, like everyone's screaming and shit, like rises up, and so I hear all these people like praying and screaming and crying, and I'm thinking to myself, holy fuck, like we just got engaged like 3 days ago, we're gonna die in the middle of this crazy like storm. It's a monsoon. The monsoon is so crazy, it ends up making it all the way to LA. Like this storm system comes all the way to the US. Like this is no joke. And we're out in the middle of the ocean in this like tiny fucking boat, like during a monsoon. And I literally remember thinking to myself, like, I'm not like a particularly spiritual person, and I'm like, you know, God, like if we're gonna die, let's just get this shit over with. Like I'm ready, dude. I'm like, I've stopped wishing that we're gonna live, and I'm just like, if we are going to die, if this boat is gonna flip, let's just do it now. I think I said that out loud, which I probably shouldn't have, but I think Lindsay was maybe like passed out at this point. I don't know. I was definitely blacking out. She actually did better than I did, I think. She's tough as shit, though.
So when you guys
literally like
passing out,
I'm literally no. So I'm like blacking out, like my vision is black. I've got a fever and shit, but I'm still like holding on. But I'm like full out panicking. So we get to this island, the first island. We're supposed to go to the second island. Everyone gets off the boat. They're like, fuck this shit. I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot. It's intense. It's intense. Whatever. Yeah. Everyone gets off this
talking to
boat.
me.
Some dude like stands up. He's like, I'm going to get my money back. Who's with me? And I'm like, dude, we just almost died. Like, fuck your fucking like 50 bucks,
50 bucks,
you know, that you spent to like, get on this island. Like, we're alive, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we end up on this island we didn't plan on being on. We find this like dope like bungalow that we like rent out that like overlooks the ocean. We spend the whole first day like straight up on this like porch, like
shitting and puking.
no,
and
just
crying.
I had nothing. There was no I had
So you were
nothing
puking
left
on the boat.
But like I hadn't eaten really because like we had been stopping at all these places. Like I don't want everyone to turn this podcast off, but like we're vegan and like I'm sorry.
Dun, dun.
I know. It's like I'm not. Everyone's just like, oh fuck this dude,
Yeah,
fuck
fuck
this
him.
hippie. But like it's like in rural areas it's a little tougher to eat, and so we hadn't really eaten a lot because we're stopping at all these places along the way. That's like it's just like fried
meat.
pork rinds and shit.
Right,
It's
right.
like okay, I can't eat any of that. And so like I hadn't eaten a lot like over the night, and so like I'm driving. We're not. This is getting really graphic, but like there's not a lot there, and
Yeah.
we're super dehydrated. I like burst a bunch of blood vessels in my eye.
Oh my God,
dude,
yo,
it's
this
crazy.
is insane.
And so we're like we're literally though. I remember like being on this like island in this bungalow, and like all this crazy shit had just happened, and we're just like napping and like drinking as much water as we can and just chilling out like the whole
most
first day.
relieving
Because I'm
feeling.
like, we're alive. Like we are straight up alive right now against all odds. We have made it. But then I remember like the second day I hit up Sean again. He comes up a lot in this podcast.
Sean does come up a lot.
But I hit him up because I left my credit card at home in case we got robbed. I didn't want to like get completely robbed.
Right.
And so I left my credit card at home. I'm like, yo, Sean, can you go take a photo of the front and back of my credit card? I'm flying off this fucking island. I do not care how much it costs. I'm never getting on a boat again, ever. And turns out, and so he takes a photo. I'm like, I don't care how many thousands of dollars it takes. I'm not fucking getting on a boat because we almost died. You can't fly off this island. It is too small. They do not have a runway. There's no way to fly in and off this island. And so, but we're there for 5 days. We're having a really good time.
And the weather's getting better.
The weather's getting better.
Yeah.
They didn't do another. That was the last boat they took out to the island for like 3 days. They didn't do another. The weather chilled out by the time we ended up going back. But the time we spent there was amazing. Like we're renting a scooter and we're like ripping around the island. It is cheap as fuck to vacation in Thailand. If you're ever thinking about it, do it. Like it's amazing. Like we're spending like $10 a day maybe. It's crazy on this island. It's amazing.
That's insane.
But you know, we're snorkeling with sea turtles, drinking out of coconuts. Like it is.
That's dope.
It is the dream for sure. And we have to go back to Bangkok and go home to the States. And we have to get on this boat. We get on this boat, and I'm like still pretty shook, like little PTSD. I'm like, are we gonna die? We get on this boat though. It's like glass,
Just cruising.
son. Like people are like drinking beer, old ladies taking photos. And I'm like, you fucking people have no idea what happened here 5 days ago, dude. Like you would never get on a boat again. You would swim over there before you get on a boat. To like, you know what I mean?
Are you good now though? Like you can go ride a boat again?
Oh yeah. I'm good.
Wow, what a fucking.
Well,
trip.
that trip sort of like, oh, boats are cool. Like because it was such a good experience. It was like super cathartic, like really chill. Like everyone's just chilling out, and I'm like, man, I know it's like sort of like maybe it was even more calm because this big storm had just passed, but it was like cruising on glass. Like there was not a single wave. The whole ride back only took an hour and a half, like it was supposed to. It was a really good way to end the trip, but it was chaos. Like
I loved it because like you'd see on Facebook, you would post like, today me and Lindsay got engaged, all this stuff. He like writes up a thing, and then like 3 days later, like today me and Lindsay almost fucking died, and I'm so happy to be alive, and everyone means so much to me, and all this shit. And I was like, damn, what
like,
the fuck?
They say that like before you die, like your life sort of flashes before your eyes. I felt some of that, like in a really weird way. I was like, dude, like I literally thought I was gonna die, and I was like playing all this shit back in my head, and like I was mostly thinking. It's really funny if Lindsay's folks listen to this, but I was mostly thinking like, man, Lindsay's folks are gonna fucking kill me. Like I just brought their daughter. We just got engaged. I brought their daughter halfway across the world, and now we're dead. And now
they just got half her body back because it was eaten by sharks.
They're gonna hate me forever, and like all this shit. They're the greatest people on earth, though. So
shout out
that
was such a good fucking story,
dude. It was nuts.
This podcast is great. I love this shit.
This is dude. That was crazy. That was like probably like I would say one of the craziest experiences of my life. But I would go back like to Thailand.
Yeah,
It was
I want to go.
fucking
I've never
sick.
been.
You gotta go.
I've never been.
What's crazy is it's so cheap to fly there from LA. Our tickets round trip were $750
So
to
ridiculous.
Bangkok. Not a shit airline too. Like we had a layover in China and they put us up in like the dopest hotel I've ever stayed in.
Crazy.
Like because we had a big layover and
Yeah.
they, for free like comped us this hotel and it was like, dude, I've never stayed at a hotel this nice ever.
That was like flying home from Iceland. Like I don't know why. I guess the state pays to make the flights really cheap there.
Yeah, the tourism. I think it's their like tourism board. I have tons of friends that have gone to Iceland.
Yeah,
like,
it's
recently.
really sick.
It's
You
like,
should go.
like $300 or $400,
Yeah,
right?
it's cheap.
I was gonna go. We keep talking about it. I think
was
we're gonna
like-
go to Costa Rica next
Dude,
time.
it was like our last stop on the tour with Q, and then we all flew back, and Q always sits up in first class in some fucking ridiculous AirPod thing, but he's already like fucking passed out or whatever, and it's like, dude, let us sit up there and shit. 'cause
He's
you're
just
not even
switch.
enjoying it.
Just take his like sleeping body, put it in
fucking
coach.
Move. But like on the way back, I was sitting right behind first class, and it was like the one, where like you have a bunch of extra room. So I was like, oh, cool. And we're just chilling, and then the chick comes up. She's like, hey, you guys want anything to whatever have and shit? And I'm like, nah. Like I'll just wait. We're going to New York. I'm gonna see Ian, and we're gonna eat something like New
He
York.
was at the wedding.
Yeah, Ian was there. He's like, I want to eat something in New York. Like, I'll eat some pizza or something. So I was like, no, I'll just have like a soda or whatever, coffee. And she's like, are you sure? Like, you can have anything. I'm like, anything? And she's like, yeah. And I open up the menu. I'm like, all this shit. And it's like mini hamburgers, fucking all nachos, all this food, like shit that you get in first class. And it's like, you can literally have anything but champagne. I was like, cool. I had fucking probably 12 whiskeys, dog. Because it was like 7 hours. We had just done all this
Just
shit.
trashed it.
Yeah, and I was editing this music video, so I was like, cool. And they were just going down. Like, I wasn't feeling it at all until like the end of the flight. When
Until you
I
get
had
to
to
New York,
get
you're
Ian.
stumbling off the plane. They're like,
like
"What's up?"
Ian, I'm
This drunk
back.
ass,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, but I ate tons of cheeseburgers and shit. It was lit. It was
On this one flight,
Yeah.
you like gained like 12 pounds on your way back.
definitely,
Whatever.
dude. I gained so much weight on that tour, and when I got done, I'd never been. I was the heaviest I've ever been for my weight.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
when
I was
we were
like
at,
203 pounds, and my doctor's like, yeah, you're overweight for your whatever
Frame,
Yeah,
whatever.
and I lost like 35 pounds after that tour.
I remember you talking to me about that because you were super bummed.
Yeah.
But it was like, tour can do that to you, especially a tour like that.
Tour,
like,
yeah, do
because
see-
you're like editing, you're not sleeping, which you need to work on. You need to sleep more, straight up.
No, I just started a whole new thing where I sleep less. It's sick.
No, I know. We talked about that already. I
Yeah.
said that's fucking stupid.
No, it's tight. All right, so before we end this shit, I asked people in Black with No Cream to ask you questions if
Sure.
they so choose to do, which they did. And let's start off the first question with, how does it feel to be homecoming king? I'm joking. That was my question.
Oh shit, that was
Andrew
I-
got homecoming king.
I was homecoming king, but like sort of by default because like I was like the weird like theater punk dude.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it
And,
didn't make
like-
sense. Everyone's like, and we were all like, yeah.
Yeah, well, you all like pick me up,
Mm-hmm.
and like they give you like this little. At least our high school, it was like a wand, like a scepter thing.
Yeah.
And I dropped it like right away and broke it. Like as they picked me up, they'd just given it to me. This is like kind of a theme through my life, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
Good
Whatever.
time. All right, now let's ask, these are serious questions. Matt Kramer, he says, what's your favorite form of printmaking? He says relief, stencil, etc.
Definitely screen printing. I mean, that obviously, but like, I've dabbled in other shit. And actually my wife has her degree is in printmaking. But like screen printing is like primarily what we do. It's like most of the stuff I know about printmaking, well, actually all of it is all self-taught. And like that has been always our focus because we do like mostly most of what we do is like garments and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love doing that. I love doing the art steps for it. Like that's kind of our main thing.
Yeah.
Good question though.
Yeah. Aloe Gordon, this isn't really a question. I don't think he just says it's crazy, man. I don't know if it's just like a new wave, but everybody has like multiple skills these days. I love it because the way I summarize your story, it's like,
I mean, like that. It was an accident though, like completely an accident, and that is like kind of plays back to the yes man thing. Like at that time I was like never saying no to anything.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to book tours for a living? Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? Or like, hey, you want to screen print? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Whatever. Like a lot of those skills can link together. Like we did so well as a print company because we had made all these friends that were in these touring bands when we were touring. Like that's how we survived for so long. And so like if you can develop a skill set that like maybe if it's diverse but like that they can play together,
Right.
like that's great. I mean, you come from music, like
Yeah.
and that is how you
Made
worked
this
into
shit.
the way that you're into. Like don't say no, like to anything. Like the more things you can learn how to do in life, the better. But like, you know, obviously you want to like specialize at some point, but like you never know where that's going to lead you.
Absolutely.
Like, and I think that's like the thing I think about the most when I think back about like, how the fuck did I get here? Like I started in such a different area and then like ended up here, and it's just
risks.
How things progress, man.
Yeah,
like, straight
I love
up. That is a good point though, like for sure.
Isaiah Locher, something like that. Sorry, dude. He says there's still aggress shirts in existence.
That's true. I didn't print those, but that is true. I actually still own an aggress t-shirt, like from a really long time ago. Good call out. Good shout out, dude.
I know. That's really
That's
tight.
a deep cut.
That is good. Travis Beck's in here. Travis says he's looking forward to this one, boys. He's been in Black Window Cream, dude, and he's also started doing YouTube covers. Like
I saw that. I did see that.
Crushing it.
Yeah, that's sick.
Corey said, do you get a high from seeing something your company printed being worn displayed? I mean, you mentioned that with the Playboy thing.
Okay, and like I will say this, it has faded a little bit over time.
Yeah.
But like we would go to like festivals and shit and be like, print that. And like the feeling you get from that, especially when you're like first seeing it like out in the world, I still get it sometimes. Like I'll be like, we print for a lot of like streetwear brands and shit like that, and like I'll like walk around, especially in LA, because that shit's like super prominent. Like I'll walk around and like see something that like I printed, like someone rocking it. And I'm like, holy fuck, like I did that. Like that
literally was in my house.
That literally, like I put my hands on that fucking thing. Like that is
crazy.
super cool. That is a great point. Like I absolutely do. That'll probably never completely go away. But I remember when we first really started like printing for a lot of bands, and then we'd go to a festival and like we'd be like, whoa, we printed all of this shit, and like all these kids are rocking it. It's such a good feeling. Like it's fucking cool. Like it's probably one of those like mini highs that like kept us going, because like it's just a cool experience.
Yeah,
like, and I still get that way. Like our shit will pop up on like Instagram, you know, I'll see like even like a couple like celebs rocking some like streetwear brand that we like put our hands on. Like I'm like, oh fuck, we did that hat, or like we did, you know what I mean? And I'll see that, and it's got like, you know, fucking hundreds of thousands of likes, and I'm like, that is some crazy
fucking
shit.
Weird, right?
That's crazy. It's a trip,
fucking
dude.
Weird.
Straight up. Yeah, that's a good point. I
love that shit. Keegan Batkins, he played drums in my band. He went to high school with us.
Yeah.
He just said, ask him if there's a piece of advice he'd give to his 16-year-old self.
I gotta think about that one. Not really. Like, I mean, yes, like keep going, but like, again, like I made a lot of fucking mistakes like along the way, but I wouldn't redo anything. I mean, we talked about this a couple times, but like if you're happy with where you are now, you can't regret anything about how you got there, because every weird little misstep you took along the way landed to you being here. Right. I guess I would say like, just, I don't know, keep it, do what you do. Cause like, you know, I never in a million years dreamed I'd be doing the shit I'm doing now.
Crazy,
and like,
right?
It turned out dope. He
also asked if you remember the time that we backed into his sister's car.
My sister's car?
Your
I don't remember that, but like it is fucking, I do kind of remember that. I think it was Natalie's car. Vaguely. I'm going to say vaguely. I don't remember how it played out. I mean, me and like my sister Natalie are like super tight still, so
back then
it must not have been that big of a deal.
All right, and then the one thing I always do, like, since I mean this is a good long podcast.
Where are we at right now?
Hour 50.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we chopped it up for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, I knew we would too, because like it's easy to chop it up with someone that have done as long as you. So
we got so much fucking shit. There's so much more to talk about too, but fuck that.
We gotta wrap it up at some point.
If people make it this far, I let you choose the hashtag that they would. Do you use Twitter?
I suck at social
Instagram?
media. I have Instagram.
All right, so just like DM us the hashtag of Andrew's choosing. You can say whatever you want the hashtag to be. That's usually funny. I'm just saying, like, if they made it to an hour 50, they're committed. And when they're
locked in.
When they send you this little stupid hashtag, some of them are pretty funny because people don't know what to say, so they say something stupid, and then all of a sudden, like 4 weeks later, I'll get like Trump, I don't know, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's that from? I'm like, oh yeah, Andrew said that. And then, what do you want your hashtag to be? Anything in the world.
Beet juice. I'll say beet juice.
Beet juice?
Beet juice. I'm drinking a fine beet juice right now from Salud Juicery. Check it out. Like a little tiny mini plug. My wife works here. I drink hella juice from there, and I didn't really fuck with beets until I started drinking it in juice form.
Beet juice.
Beet juice, dude.
Hashtag beet juice if you made it this far.
If you made it this far, beet juice.
Is there if people had to look you up or anything, how do you want them to find you?
Instagram, I guess. Like Andrew X Doyle. Overcast has an Instagram too. Overcast Design and Print. You can check that out. Yeah, and that's that.
Dope.
Cool.
Oh yeah, and your band. Fuck, my bad.
Oh shit. Yeah, I guess I'm in a band now. It's cool. We play for fun. I love it. It's dope. Like a couple of the dudes have literally like done that shit for a living, and that's cool. But now like we just do it for fun, and it's super sick. And actually, we just put out a music video Wednesday.
That Sean and Matt shot. Bringing them up again.
Films. We're doing it again, dude.
Yeah,
but like, Sean's
this
been my
podcast is sponsored by 9-1 Films.
Seriously, like, I'm not trying to like plug it too hard, but Sean's been like one of my best friends forever. So our lives are very intertwined. So most of my stories involve him in one way or another. But 9-1 Films did it. I think he posted it to Black with No Cream, maybe.
I think he did.
So I mean, if you're part of the group, like, go check it out. It's a different vibe.
I'll put it in the show notes too.
But we just dropped that, and like, yeah, it's cool. Like,
what? How do we find your band? Is it like SoundCloud or something? Where do you guys put your music?
That is the first piece of music we put. We've been working on this record for like literally over a year.
Oh shit!
That is the first music we put out into the world.
Dope.
Check it out. But I don't know.
And the last thing before we get off, and I'm sorry for now talking about this. You have not a charity. It's not a 501. It's not like a legitimate charity, right?
It's not a 501c3. It is a nonprofit. We're working on the 501c3 part, but
it's hard to do.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought it up. Actually,
I love this.
It's called For the Children Fest. It's something we do every year. I do it with a couple like really amazing people. Shout out fucking Nate, who is like, he is literally like Santa Claus. Like, he is like the greatest, like literally the most selfless dude I've ever met. Yeah. He's been doing it forever. Him, Scott, Aaron, Luis. It's something we all do together. It's a concert that we do in LA. We do it every year.
Around Christmas time, right?
Around Christmas. It's like 3 weeks before Christmas, generally speaking. It's a 2-day festival. All of the money, to get in, you have to bring a toy both days. And all the money that comes in from it after we like cover costs for bands, it all goes to like buying like food, like meal vouchers and like, gift cards to like Marshalls and shit like that for clothes. And then like, stuff for like older kids, but it's a toy drive, and we distribute those toys directly. Like, we don't just drop them off at like a Toys for Tots or some shit. Like, we make sure that those toys get exactly like, not saying Toys for Tots doesn't, but directly to some of like the families that miss out on some of that shit. You know, there are a lot of different like charities and stuff that there can be a lot of red tape to like qualify for some of that stuff. And there's just, the need is so huge in every major area, but like LA, there's such a huge like homeless issue, like, and there's straight up families on the street. Like, over the last few years doing this, I've seen some really crazy shit. Like, there's a story every year that really fucks me up. And it's been one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to do. Yeah. But like, we'll do this big concert. All these kids roll out. We get like 1,000+ kids showing up to this thing. They're all bringing toys, and kids get so into it. Like, they will bring. You only have to bring one toy. Kids will show up with like bags of toys.
That's sick as fuck.
Like, companies donate shit. Like, Fender donated like 3 guitars last year. Like,
crazy. It's
super cool. Everyone really gets behind it, and we work with like LA Department of Mental Health, YMCA. Like, we work with Help Me Help You, which is an organization in Long Beach specifically, and we get these toys out to these families. We get to meet a lot of them in person. And
so sick.
Yeah, just get these toys out to families in need, and it's.
Is there a website or something? How can?
Yeah, so if you go to sosbooking.org, you can find. We do a lot of shows throughout the year, and like all of those shows, SOS Booking is the nonprofit. All of the money that we gather through the year, like all the profit goes towards funding the festival. And like all the bands that play are like the dopest bands. They all do it for free. Like, we cover their costs. Like, if they're flying from somewhere, we'll buy their flights and shit. But it is like one of the only like things in the music industry I've seen where like, and I've dabbled in quite a bit of that, where no one makes money. No one profits.
Yeah,
like,
that's perfect.
It is music for the purest reasons. It's really cool. It's something I'm really proud to be a part of. And like, the fact that I, was asked to be, involved in it is like, it's a huge honor.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling, and it helps a lot of kids. I mean, literally every year we service to like, easily hundreds of families. We do like a full Christmas for.
So amazing.
And it's dope because there's a lot of need. Shit. And I really encourage anyone that's thinking about it. Everyone can do it in their own scene, in their own world. Like, get out, get involved. Like, there's a lot of need. There's a lot of families and kids out there that need help, especially around the Christmas season.
Hell yeah.
the need is crazy. All the shelters are full. Like,
Yeah.
it's brutal. There's families this last year that like we had to be really careful about what we gave them because they were living in cars and shit.
Crazy,
you know,
man.
it's dope. I mean, it is the experience of it is super dope, but you also run into a lot of like really heartbreaking stories. But the gratitude that these people show is like you've never seen that level of love, and like it's so cool. Like just the way that they like these families are so tight because they've been through like the gnarliest shit. You know, like it's amazing.
That's
it's a
fucking
great experience.
sick. If you can get involved somehow, do it. If you can do it,
hit
in
me
your
up.
hometown,
Like
do
if
it. Yeah,
you know
hit
if
up
you ever
Doyle.
want to be involved, like you know, check it out.
Yeah.
If you're into it, hit me up. Like even you know, there's we do the festival, and then for 3 weeks after, we're sorting toys every night. You know, like dishing it out to like people give us lists of families and stuff, and separate it all out, give it to these families, or like give it to these organizations. They get it to these families, and it's cool. It's fucking awesome, dude.
I feel like such a dickhead for. I don't remember what we had to shoot over that weekend, and I couldn't make it down there, and I was trying so fucking hard to leave.
You hit me up, though.
I know, I'm sorry. And
No.
I didn't fucking ever send you anything. I meant to send you, I don't know if I didn't get your address or something. I was going to Amazon you something.
Yeah, I remember that. It doesn't matter. Dude, next
God
year.
damn it.
Go
Yeah,
big next year.
I want to be involved. I need to be involved somehow.
It is so dope. Like, come out, or if you don't want to, like, the bands aren't your dig or whatever, like, you can get involved after.
Sick.
We always use help sorting toys.
Yeah.
Like, and next year we want to, like, get really diverse in the lineup and do some fun
I'll
shit.
see how we
so.
can get Black with No Cream involved in that shit, because that could be really tight for us to do something.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Swag!
Cool.
All right, that's it, dude. I appreciate it, dog.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
You
I
have fun?
appreciate it. Yeah, hell yeah.
How you want to end it?
I'll let you drive that. I don't know. I've done a lot of talking here.
Bye. Oh, fuck. Bye, bye, bye. That's it for episode 18 with Andrew Doyle. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow Andrew on Instagram and follow Overcast. They are fucking killing it. I've shared links in the show notes, which you can find at blackwindowcream.com/podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. Let me know what you think about this interview. If you're interested in joining Black Window Cream's private content creator group, visit bwnc.com/join. And last but not least, buy some fucking merch. There's not much left right now. I have a small stock. That's it. If you get it now, you get it. And I don't know if I'll print it again. It is what it is. Every sale helps me keep this thing alive. Subscribe to Black Window Cream. New episode every single Sunday. See ya next week, you bitch.